Chapter 6001. This kind of strange phenomenon shocked countless people. Just who was it? The thunderbolts in the sky were even angrier. Who dared to challenge the heavenly path? They were about to land. However, Lin Xian snorted and said, "Die." With a soft shout, the thunderbolts in the sky disappeared. Only a black hole was floating. Everyone went crazy. The patriarch of the Eagle clan, the Grand Elder, the Nine-Headed Snake clan, the peerless overlord, the top overlord of the Moro clan. They were dumbfounded. A voice could destroy the heavenly thunder. What kind of expert was he? Could he be a legendary figure? He was too powerful. Ying Li, the nine-headed young master, Princess Moro, and the others were even more shocked. This was a peerless expert who could destroy the heavenly thunder with a single word. This was the goal in their hearts, the pursuit of their lives. Where was such an expert? They could only be met by chance, but not sought. Only two people knew. Who was the culprit? One was Ying Wufeng. He looked at the sky and exclaimed, "Why did Lin Gongzi say that?" The other was Xia Jiuyou. Xia Jiuyou also looked up at the sky and sighed. These days, the Otherworld Heavenly King is in charge. It seems that the Otherworld Heavenly King wants to rule the universe, the deity ground, and all the 9 heavens and 10 lands. It was very ambitious. Lin Xian, him, and the people of the God realm were unwilling to lower their heads. Therefore, there was bound to be an earth-shattering battle in the future. The phenomenon in the sky hadn't disappeared yet. A pair of eyes appeared in the black hole. The eyes were like the eyes of a god. Although they were illusory, they emitted an extremely terrifying aura. He lowered his gaze and covered the entire 15th level of hell. What kind of gaze was that? Was a god looking down on them? At this moment, everyone in the 15th level of hell trembled in fear. The patriarch and grand elder of the Eagle clan, the peerless overlords of the Nine-Headed Snake clan, and the top overlords of the other clans were all shocked. They were all stunned. Ying Li, the Nine-Headed Snake clan, young master Mo Luo, and the others were so scared that their faces turned pale. Under such a gaze, they simply did not have the strength to resist. It was as if a single gaze could exterminate all of them. In a pitch-black mountain range, there were countless black palaces. A figure dressed in black walked out. They were from the Fiend clan. One of them was a woman who was looking up at the sky. She was the #1 fairy of the Fiend clan. She exclaimed, "Oh no, those eyes are so scary. A peerless master from the outside world has come. Could it be that he has come for the 9 serenities? But why? He came to the 15th floor?" She couldn't make the decision on this matter. She entered the black hall and looked at a statue. She said, "Clan leader, there is a vision of heaven and earth. The eyes of a peerless master are probing the 15th layer of hell. I wonder which force he is from." The statue spoke in a low voice. Go and check who it is. They must have come for the 9th serenity. However, as far as I know, the people from the other side and the Paragon Halls went straight to the 17th floor. They didn't even come to the 16th floor. Why are they who would go to the 15th floor? I understand. I'll look into it. Yu Xianzi turned and left. This illusory, I was naturally Lin Xian's Rinnegan. He used his gaze to scan the entire 15th floor of hell. Then he shook his head slightly and looked away. As expected, no one on the 15th floor of hell was his match. At the same time, he didn't find anyone from the other side or the Paragon Halls. They probably didn't come to the 15th floor of hell. They must have gone to the other floors. Whatever, he had to carry out his plan first. After all, the floor below was the 9th serenities. They had to open it. No matter how early the others went, it would be useless. At the same time, he also discovered a pitch-black mountain when he was investigating earlier. There was a dark aura there. It should be the Fiend clan, one of the top clans. In other words, they were the number one clan of the 15th floor of hell. Over there seemed to be a mysterious power that blocked his gaze. Interesting. It seemed that the Fiend clan was not simple. Lin Xian looked away and returned to the hall of the Eagle clan. At this time, the other clans began to move frantically. Yu Xianzi sent people to investigate. Who was it that had descended? As for the Molo clan, the nine-headed snake clan, the Eagle clan, and the others, they also began to investigate. That damned expert, where exactly was he? Would it be possible for them to meet? After investigating, they found that the aura seemed to have come from the Lotus platform. They immediately went to the Lotus platform to inquire. The top clans summoned their geniuses back. The Hydra clan leader said, "What happened?" The Hydra clan leader said, "Nothing. It's just that there was an arrogant kid." The Molo clan and the Chiefin clan also began to inquire about the matter. However, they did not discover any peerless experts. However, among these people, there was an arrogant brat. Who was the other party? They didn't know. They only knew that he was called Lin Gongzi and was a guest invited by the Eagle clan. That kid was too arrogant. He said that I wasn't worthy of being his opponent. The geniuses were furious. Lin Gongzi dared to challenge the heavenly Tao, the illusory eyes, and those people furrowed their brows tightly. Suddenly, the expression of the All-Devil clan's patriarch changed. Could it be? He seemed to have thought of something, and his body trembled. "Grandpa, what's wrong?" Princess Pineapple asked. "What's his name?" Princess Moro said, "I only know that he's called Lin Gongzi, but I don't know what he is. Is he powerful?" The Moro clan leader took a deep breath. Could it really be him? He's the only one who dares to challenge the heavenly Tao. On the other side, the Grand Elder of the Nine-Head clan trembled. It's him. It must be him. Who is the patriarch? The Hydra clan leader was puzzled. The Grand Elder slapped him to the ground. "You idiot. You've caused trouble. Come with me to the Eagle clan and ask for forgiveness." "Who did I offend?" The Hydra clan leader was also confused. However, his old ancestor had already brought him away from the clan to the Eagle clan. On the other side, the Moro clan leader asked with a smile, "Granddaughter, you're not young anymore. Isn't it time to find a husband?" Hearing this, Princess Moro blushed. "Grandpa, what are you talking about? I said that my husband must be stronger than me. I don't like the Hydra clan leader. He's not as strong as me." That was indeed the case. Princess Mo Luo was ranked second on the genius ranking. The person ranked first was someone called Yu Xianzi, who was also a woman. She was also a good friend of hers. In this way, there was no man who could defeat her in the same age group. Therefore, Fairy Moro would not marry anyone else. The Moro clan leader said, "This person is much stronger than the Hydra clan leader. He's even stronger than me. You won't be disappointed. However, there's a problem. It's not certain whether he wants you or not." "What? Who's so powerful?" Princess Moro was dumbfounded. He was more powerful than her grandpa, but he didn't want her? Was she weak? She was now a quasi-emperor, a top genius. Moreover, she was extremely beautiful. How was she weak? This was an opportunity. She had to try it. Otherwise, she would regret it for the rest of her life. "Granddaughter, come with me." He waved his hand, tore open the void, and headed to the Eagle clan with Princess Moro. Chapter 6002. The people of the Eagle tribe were also surprised that such a powerful master had come here. They had to find him and pay him a visit. On this day, the void flickered, and a figure descended from the sky. The powerful aura on his body frightened the people of the Eagle tribe. It was the Grand Elder of the Nine-Headed tribe. Why was he here? The elders of the Eagle tribe hurriedly greeted him. "Greetings, Senior." They all bowed. "Fellow Taoist of the Eagle tribe, you're too polite. I'm here to apologize." "Apologize? What does that mean?" The elders of the Eagle tribe were all stunned. "Tell me," the grand elder of the nine-headed snake tribe said. The nine-headed young master walked out with an extremely ugly expression. He said reluctantly, "I'm here to apologize. I offended Lin Gongzi before, so I'm here today to apologize to him." Offended Lin Gongzi? What Lin Gongzi? The people of the Eagle tribe were all stunned. Did they have Lin Gongzi here? Actually, there was one. Wasn't it the one brought by the ancestor? However, was that young man so important? Even the patriarch of the Eagle tribe was alarmed. He hurried over and said, "Fellow Taoist, are you mistaken?" The grand elder said, "Absolutely. Let me see Lin Gongzi." "All right, go ahead." The people of the Eagle tribe did not stop him. The grand elder brought the nine-headed young master to the depths of the Eagle tribe. There was a secluded hall there, and after entering, he saw Lin Xian. "Kneel down." The grand elder kicked the nine-headed young master to the ground. "Apologize to me." "Why, I don't accept it," the nine-headed young master said. The grand elder slapped him. "You don't accept it, because he's stronger than you. He's stronger than me. Do you accept it?" After saying that, he also cupped his fists and said, "Lin Gongzi, I'm sorry. I didn't teach him well, and let this kid offend you. I'm here to apologize to you." When Lin Xian heard this, the corners of his mouth lifted. He said, "You recognize me?" Lin Gongzi's name resounded throughout the universe. How could I not know him? This grandson of mine has eyes, but can't see. I will punish him severely. After saying that, he kicked him twice more. The nine-headed young master was in an incomparably miserable state. The people from the Eagle tribe originally wanted to see if there was a misunderstanding. However, when they saw this scene, they were all stunned. What was the meaning of this? The nine-headed young master knelt on the ground and kowtowed. The supreme elder was so respectful. Heavens, who was this young man? Ing Li and the others were also dumbfounded after reading it. They couldn't help but feel a sense of fear. This was not the end. It was at this moment that the void was torn apart once more, and two more figures appeared. They were Patriarch Mara and Princess Mara. "Don't tell me you're here to apologize as well?" The elder of the Eagle tribe had a strange expression on his face. Patriarch Mo Luo said, "Apologize? Apologize for what?" "It's not an apology." "That's good. I knew it. How could this kid have such a big face? It must be a misunderstanding." Ing Li and the others also breathed a sigh of relief. However, the next moment, they jumped to their feet. "We're here to see Lin Gongzi." Patriarch Mo Luo spoke. Ing Li and the others all went crazy. "They're here to see Lin Gongzi again. What's the matter?" The chief of the Eagle tribe asked. Patriarch Mo Luo said, "Take me to see Lin Gongzi first. This way, please." Soon, Patriarch Mo Luo also saw Lin Xian. Immediately, his eyes lit up. Although the young man in front of him was standing there, he didn't deliberately release any aura, but it still made him feel as if he was as deep as the sea, unfathomable. That's right. He should be the legendary person. He smiled and said, "I'm the chief of the Mo Luo clan. This is my granddaughter. I think Lin Gongzi should have seen you before, right?" "Yes." Lin Xian nodded. Patriarch Mo Luo said, "That's easy. Lin Gongzi, what do you think of my granddaughter? She hasn't married yet. Why don't you give her to Lin Gongzi as a Taoist companion?" What? Hearing this, everyone was stunned. The elders of the Eagle tribe widened their eyes in disbelief. The surrounding young geniuses all went crazy. They felt that there was something wrong with their ears. Was the goddess in their eyes being given away just like that? Hydra even jumped up. "I don't accept this." As soon as he finished speaking, he was slapped to the ground by the grand elder. "Kneel down." "Grandpa, I haven't agreed yet." Princess Mo Luo's face turned red. Patriarch Mo Luo sighed. "My dear granddaughter, It doesn't matter whether you agree or not. The important thing is whether Lin Gongzi agrees or not. After that, he looked at Lin Xian and said, "My granddaughter is good at everything. If she stays by Lin Gongzi's side, even if they can't be a Taoist companion, it's not bad to be a little maid." With a bang, the geniuses of the Eagle tribe all knelt on the ground in fear. Be a little maid? She was the second heavenly beauty on the 15th floor of hell. They tried their best to pursue her, but failed. Now they were going to be someone else's little maid. Princess Mo Luo also went crazy. She thought that her grandpa was joking, but now it seemed that her grandpa was really determined. Damn it, why? What's so good about this boy? Forget it, I'm not suitable. At this time, Lin Xian shook his head and refused directly. Patriarch Mo Luo sighed. "Young master, don't you want to think about it?" Princess Mo Luo went crazy. "Boy, how can you refuse me? What's wrong with me?" She was furious. Her grandpa wanted to give her away with a pale face. However, the other party refused. Had she ever been refused? She had always been the one to refuse others. She was so angry that she went crazy. "Grandson, don't be rude." Patriarch Mo Luo's expression changed. The next moment, he stepped forward and bowed deeply. "This granddaughter has been spoiled by me. Please forgive me, Lin Gongzi. If Lin Gongzi wants to punish someone, punish me." "Grandpa, why are you so afraid of him?" Princess Mo Luo was dumbfounded. The other people had also gone crazy. The people of the Eagle tribe looked at each other. "Who is this boy? Is he the son of a great emperor?" "That's possible. However, even if he is the son of a great emperor, he still has a lot of face." The faces of the elders of the Eagle tribe became solemn. The patriarch of the Eagle tribe's heart skipped a beat. They had heard about Lin Xian before, but they didn't take it seriously. In their view, there couldn't be such a terrifying genius in the world. But now, they saw the performance of the two patriarchs of the Demon Clan and the Hydra Clan. They were all crazy. It seemed that things were much more serious than they thought. Patriarch Mo Luo said, "Fellow Taoist of the Eagle tribe, why did you arrange Lin Gongzi in this remote hall?" The nine-headed snake ancestor also said, "Could it be that you didn't treat young Master Lin well?" "Lin Gongzi, why don't you come to my Hydra clan? The treatment there is 1,000 times, 10,000 times better than here. No, go to my Moro clan. We are willing to submit to you." Everyone went crazy. The Hydra young master roared, "Patriarch, give me an explanation. Otherwise, I will duel with him." "That's right." Princess Mo Luo also said, "Grandpa, you must tell us who he is. Otherwise, I won't agree even if I die here today." Patriarch Mo Luo sighed. "Lin Gongzi's strength is beyond my imagination. He has a title that you may not have heard of. His name is Lin Wudi." "What? Lin Wudi?" Princess Mo Luo was dumbfounded. The Hydra young master was still a little confused. The Hydra patriarch said, "Lin Wudi, the #1 genius under the starry sky, once killed 2 great emperors. In the heavenly land, he fought against several great emperors alone and retreated unscathed. He has the 9-yang divine body and has the cultivation of 10-crown king." These words resounded in all directions like a clap of thunder. Everyone was stunned. Fighting against great emperors, killing great emperors, 10-crown kings cultivation. Under the starry sky, he was an invincible genius. Every piece of news was like a sharp sword stabbing into their hearts. At this moment, the people of the Eagle tribe were completely trembling. It turned out that what the patriarch said before was true. All of it was true. Chapter 6003. Ing Li and the other geniuses of the Eagle tribe fell to their knees with a thud. Their bodies were trembling. They had actually dared to frame someone like that. With just a wave of his finger, the other party would be able to make them hover between life and death. The faces of the elders of the Eagle tribe changed drastically. They had dared to treat such a great emperor-level figure with contempt. They had even mocked and ridiculed him. Thinking of this, they were filled with regret. "Please forgive us, sir." The chief of the Eagle tribe stepped forward and bowed. "This old man was blind to have neglected you, sir." Now, he was filled with regret. It was possible that he would miss out on such a great opportunity. The nine-headed young master was so scared that he prostrated himself on the ground. He no longer dared to speak of a duel. He wouldn't dare even if he had 100 guts. On the other side, Princess Moro's mind was also blank. Now, she finally understood her grandfather's intentions, staying by such a person's side. Even if she was just a servant, her future achievements would be limitless. Moreover, she had heard of Lin Wuti long ago. He was the Prince Charming in her heart. How many times had she dreamt that Lin Wuti would look at her more than once? But now she didn't know that he was standing here. More importantly, she had been rejected. Thinking of this, she began to sob. Outside the Eagle tribe, another war chariot arrived. On the chariot stood a red-haired man. He was the #1 genius of the Crimson Peak tribe. When he heard that Princess Moro was going to be betrothed to someone else, he was instantly furious. Someone called Lin Gongzi? Who did he think he was? He knew that Lin Wuti was in the Eagle tribe. However, this time, the #1 genius of the Crimson Peak had brought an expert with him. This was an expert he had met outside, 8 Crown King. He had promised the benefits of the Crimson Peak tribe to invite 8 Crown King to take action. 8 Crown King was a scorpion he had cultivated to a very high level. He smiled. "Don't worry, Sir Crimson Peak. He's just a junior. I can easily suppress him. All right, I'll rely on you this time. I'll agree to your conditions. When you fulfill them, I'll immediately give them to you." Arriving in front of the Eagle tribe, the #1 genius of the Crimson Peak shouted coldly, "Lin, get out here." His voice rolled and spread in all directions. The faces of the Eagle clan changed when they heard this voice. Is he here for Lin Gongzi? Who was it? How dare he berate Lin Gongzi? They were all going crazy. Now, they knew the name of Lin Xian. That was Lin Wuti. He was someone who had killed a great emperor. Lin Xian also frowned. Is there anyone else who doesn't know what's good for them? With a sway of his body, he headed outside. The surrounding people all followed. Soon, they left the Eagle clan. He saw 2 figures standing in front of him. One was a red-haired man, and the other was a gloomy old man. He was the #1 genius of the Crimson Summit race. What was he trying to do? Everyone was stunned. The #1 genius of the Chiefin clan said, "You're that Lin Gongzi, right? Kneeling before me, I'm the one who's interested in Princess Mo Luo. How dare you try to snatch her from me? Are you courting death?" Hearing this, the people around Lin Xian looked very strange. The 9-headed young master, Eagle Li, and the others looked at him as if he was an idiot. Chiefin was probably going to die miserably. Princess Mo Luo also said, "Shut up, Lin Gongzi is not someone you can provoke." The #1 genius of the Chiefin clan said, "Don't worry, Princess. This time, I've brought a master. Please help me, Senior Scorpion." Scorpion walked out, stared ahead, and laughed loudly. "Little kid, you're Lin Gongzi, right? You're no match for me, because I'm the 8 Crown King." Then, his aura erupted with terrifying power that swept across the area. This power made everyone's expression change drastically. The aura of the 8 Crown King was so terrifying. The surrounding people were terrified beyond belief. Although Lin Xian's name was famous, they hadn't felt any terrifying aura from him yet. The 8 Crown King, on the other hand, was the real deal here. Some people began to wonder if Lin Wuti was as powerful as the legends said. Perhaps he was just a figurehead. "You want to challenge me?" Lin Xian's expression was cold. He knew it was time for him to show his power. The 8-crown king wasn't the strongest, but it was enough to intimidate these people. He walked out and said, "Die." After saying that, he threw out a punch. "Kid, you think you can defeat me?" Scorpion sneered. A scorpion tail appeared behind him and lashed out. Anyone in the same level as him would die without a doubt if they touched his poison. In the next moment, the two collided and the scorpion tail shattered. Scorpion's expression changed completely when he felt the power of the punch. The others were also stunned. What kind of punch was that? It was like the sun in the night, illuminating the ages. The world was shocked by the punch. The void shattered. The entire 15th floor of hell shook violently, as if it couldn't withstand the punch. "No, where did you come from?" Scorpion was terrified. This power far exceeded the 8-crown king's. It wasn't something he could withstand. He wanted to escape, but in the next instant he was reduced to ashes by this punch. When Lin Xian pulled back his fist, the others were still as stunned as statues. Patriarch Mo Luo, Patriarch Hydra, and the Eagle Tribe's patriarch were trembling. They were the strongest people there, but they admitted that they had no way of dealing with that punch. Apart from kowtowing, there was nothing they could do. If they were hit by that punch, they wouldn't survive even if they were given 100 lives. Was this Lin Wuti? The young geniuses were even more shocked. The 8-crown king was someone they looked up to, but he was killed with a single punch. This power was too strong, so strong that they couldn't imagine it. Lin Wuti's reputation had only existed in legends. Now that they saw it with their own eyes, they were shocked and terrified. It was even more terrifying than before. At this moment, everyone standing beside Lin Xian was trembling uncontrollably. No one dared to look up at him. Opposite him, the number 1 genius of the chiefing tribe was so frightened that he fell to his knees with a thud. Who are you?" he said in horror. Lin Xian snorted coldly. With a wave of his sleeve, a wave of law tore him in half. "No, Patriarch, save me." The number 1 genius of the chiefing tribe roared crazily. His soul was about to be extinguished. The 15 treasures on his body rose into the air. One could well imagine how highly he was regarded by the clan. However, these treasures were all shattered by Lin Xian's law. At the most critical moment, a low roar came from afar. "Who dares to hurt my grandson?" A red-haired old man arrived at the scene. He threw a punch at Lin Xian and said, "Die." His grandson's life was in danger. He wouldn't allow it. "Don't attack." Patriarch Mo Luo roared. Patriarch Hydra also said, "Red-haired old man, quickly kowtow and apologize." However, it was too late. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He looked forward. In his eyes, there seemed to be an inextinguishable flame rushing forward. The terrifying power shook heaven and earth. The 6 paths of reincarnation appeared, as if a passage of life and death had been opened. The red-haired old man spat out a mouthful of blood, as if he was struck by lightning. His body continued to shatter. Chapter 6004. The red-haired old man came quickly and was defeated quickly. In an instant, he was crushed and his body was torn apart. His soul was also broken, and he was about to die. At this time, Patriarch Mo Luo said, "Young master, please show mercy." Lin Xian stopped, looked at him, and said coldly, "You want to challenge me too?" With that, he waved his sleeve, and the red-haired old man's soul was destroyed. He was dead. Everyone was shocked. Patriarch Mo Luo was also pale with fright. He quickly shook his head. "I don't dare. We are willing to respect you." The Hydra Patriarch and the others quickly lowered their heads. At this moment, Lin Xian's killing intent was too terrifying. It seemed that he could kill them all in one fell swoop. No one could resist Lin Xian's gaze. Was this the power of Lin Wuti? It was too terrifying. He killed the patriarch of a clan with one move. Princess Mo Luo, and the others were shocked. This is like a myth. Respect me? Very well. I hope you will keep your word. Lin Xian waved his sleeve and walked toward the Eagle Clan, the Eagle Clan patriarch, and the others quickly followed. At this time, Ing Wufeng also walked out. He looked at the Eagle Clan patriarch and the others, shook his head, and sighed. You missed a great opportunity. Do you understand? The Eagle Clan patriarch said regretfully, Patriarch, it's our fault. We should have listened to you long ago. Indeed, when Ing Wufeng came, he asked them to bow and carefully accompany Lin Xian. However, they did not believe it before. If they had treated him with respect from the beginning, they would not have believed it. Lin Xian could have casually taught them some secret techniques, and they would have benefited immensely. But now he didn't kill them. It must be a great kindness. In the Eagle Clan's main hall, Lin Xian sat on the throne, and a group of experts stood below. In addition to the Eagle Clan, there were also the Hydra Clan and the Moro Clan. Lin Xian could start his first plan, which was to collect resources. Not only did he want the resources of the 15th level of Hell, but he also wanted the resources of the other levels. He wanted to help Xia Juyo reach the critical point first. When they heard that Lin Xian needed an enormous amount of resources, everyone was shocked. What were they trying to do? Lin Xian said, It's none of your business. I have my own ways. You just need to follow my instructions. Yes, these people did not dare to resist and hurriedly took action. Could it be that Lin Wudi wanted to break through and become a great emperor? Indeed, this was a possibility. They sucked in a cold breath. As for Lin Xian, he personally went to the Scarlet Peak clan. Not a single person from the Scarlet Peak clan could resist him. Originally, when they learned that their clan chief had died, they wanted to take revenge. However, when they learned of Lin Xian's strength, they all gave up. They knelt on the ground and submitted, willing to serve Lin Xian. Very good. Lin Xian gazed into the distance. Now, only the fiends were left. He set off for the fiend race. The people from the other clans also became nervous. The fiends were the most powerful clan in the 15th level of Hell. Furthermore, their origins were very mysterious. Would they be able to resist them? When Yu Xianzi secretly found out about this, she also sucked in a cold breath. It was Lin Wudi. She hurriedly sent the news back to her clan. However, as soon as she returned, Lin Xian had already arrived. Lin Xian's aura suppressed the entire Black Mountain range, causing the fiends to tremble in fear. Was a god descending? They prostrated on the ground. The fiends respect me. Provide me with resources and I'll spare your life. Lin Xian's voice sounded. If you do well, I'll give you a great fortune in the future. Damn it. Many of the fiends gritted their teeth. Yu Xianzi's expression was also ugly. They were the most powerful clan. They also had great power behind them. Should they bow their heads now? If they were unwilling, they would fight it out with him. That was it. Many of them gritted their teeth. However, the mysterious statue said, Submit. We will leave this mountain range and leave all the resources to him. However, Yu Xianzi and the others still wanted to say something. The mysterious statue said, Those who disobey will be killed. The fiends had no choice but to retreat. The Black Mountain Peak left all the resources and treasures to Lin Xian. Even the fiends bowed their heads. Seeing this scene, the people of the other clans were completely stunned. It seemed that they could only work hard for Lin Xian. Otherwise, they would probably end up in a miserable state. These clans took action. They were the top clans and were very powerful. Only Lin Xian could subdue them. And these clans also wanted to go to other places besides the 15th level of Hell. They set up arrays to transport resources continuously. Lin Xian asked Xia Jio to get ready while he went to the 10th level of Hell. There was an old friend there. On the other side, the fiends retreated from the mountain range and said unhappily, Clan leader, are we just going to let it go? Everyone looked at the black statue. The black statue said, "Since he is Lin Wuti, we can't fight against him. If we anger him, he will kill all of us. But we won't let this go. Send the news to the next clan. Let them send the great emperors to deal with this matter. I have a feeling that Lin Wuti has other intentions for coming to the 15th level of hell." "Okay, I'll do it now," Yu Xianzi said. They started to move. If Lin Xian was here, he would be shocked. The power behind the fiends was the Xia clan. It was unbelievable. On the other side, Lin Xian didn't know that he had already arrived at the 4th level. The 10th level suppressed an incredible existence, the 10,000 Rock King, who was also the ancient 10-crown king. He was suppressed here by a virtual immortal. Lin Xian woke him up. When the 10,000 Rock King saw Lin Xian, he was shocked. "Your aura, have you also reached the 10-crown king realm?" Lin Xian nodded. "That's right. I'm also the 10-crown king, and I have the ability to save you now. But I have to find a good opportunity, because if you fail, you will end up with your body and soul destroyed." At this point, Lin Xian sighed. 100,000 years ago, he wanted to save the 10-crown king of the dragon race, but he failed. This time, he had to be careful about the 10,000 Rock King. He couldn't fail again. "Can you save me now? Can you break the seal?" "Yes, but if I break the seal, it will attract the attention of the otherworld heavenly king. They will even swarm over. Perhaps the virtual immortal will also make a move. So, I have to wait for an opportunity." Recently, someone in the divine realm is about to break through and become a great emperor. At that time, there will be some stubborn people on our side. The otherworld heavenly king will definitely come to stop us. At that time, they won't be able to take care of this place. When the time comes, I will think of a way to break your seal. Okay? The 10,000 Rock King was also excited. "When I break the seal, I will help you." He had been trapped here for too long. Originally, he was already in despair, but now Lin Xian gave him hope. Lin Xian said, "Senior, wait here. I'll take my leave first." After telling the 10,000 Rock King, Lin Xian left again. After returning, he took a look at the progress of the various families and found that there was still some time before it was completed. He asked Ing Wufeng to keep an eye on it. At the same time, he left again. This time, he left hell. He went to other planets and worlds. Chapter 6005. He had no choice. Now that Xia Jiao had broken through and become a great emperor, the Permitha Heavenly King would definitely not let the matter rest. It would be difficult for him to fight against them alone. After all, he was only the 10-crown king now. However, he would not let the Permitha Heavenly King succeed. Therefore, Lin Xian prepared to find help. After leaving hell, Lin Xian began to search the starry sky. He went to many places. The second star field, the buried Emperor's star, the true spirit world, and even the worlds he had lived in before. For example, the Prodigy Manor, the ancient pagoda, and the South Horizon region. In addition to finding help, Lin Xian also wanted to settle some matters of the past. Along the way, he had encountered countless experts. Some of these experts were dead, while some were alive. They had all helped him a lot. Lin Xian returned this time to repay their kindness. In the ancient pagoda in the starry sky, there was a tattoo of a black Qilin. It was a tattoo of a Qilin expert. Back then, the black Qilin had roared to the sky, "I want to fight the heavens." Now that Lin Xian came here again, he felt that this was also a 10-crown king who had been tragically sealed by someone. He let out an unwilling roar. In fact, he was even more miserable than the 10,000 Pun King. The 10,000 Pun King was still alive. However, the black Qilin was already dead. Lin Xian opened the 6 paths of reincarnation and dissipated the black Qilin's resentment. He sent him completely into the cycle of reincarnation, allowing him to be reborn. At the same time, Lin Xian contacted the Qilin clan and asked them to come over and take the Black Qilin's remains. When the Qilin clan arrived and saw the Black Qilin's remains, they were shocked. What a terrifying bloodline and aura! This was their Qilin clan's peerless expert back then. They did not expect that other than the Qilin emperor, their Qilin clan actually had such an expert. Many thanks to Lin Gongzi. If Lin Xian hadn't told them, this Black Qilin expert would have been buried in the starry sky forever. There's no need to thank me. Back then, I once obtained Senior Qilin's good fortune. Now, I'm here to repay his kindness. With that, Lin Xian waved his hand, and boundless laws gathered together to form a picture of a Black Qilin that floated in the air. Lin Xian said this was left behind by Senior Black Qilin. Feel it well. He didn't want his ultimate technique to be lost. The Qilin Sun and the Qilin clan expressed their gratitude once more. Right now, the Qilin Sun was also growing very quickly. He had already reached the 9 Crown King level. However, if he took another step forward, he wouldn't be able to reach it. He was bound by the shackles of his bloodline. The sons of great emperors had unparalleled talent, but their bloodlines were the shackles of their lives. If they couldn't make a breakthrough, they would never be able to take another step forward, let alone become a martial monarch. The Qilin Sun looked at Lin Xian with great emotion. He said, "If you need anything, please feel free to speak." Lin Xian's eyes flickered. "It's possible. I really do need your help. After some time, I might need your extreme weapons." "Okay." The Qilin Sun nodded. They took the remains of the Black Qilin and returned to the Qilin clan. Lin Xian went to the Extraordinary Scholar's Mansion again. Back then, there was a wordless heavenly steel there. Lin Xian had once comprehended it. There, he also received good fortune. Now that Lin Xian was back, he wanted to see if there was anything he could help with. This wordless heavenly steel was very similar to those in the underworld. However, it wasn't. Thinking about it, it should have been carved by a peerless master back then after seeing the wordless heavenly steel. "Greetings, Senior." The people of the Extraordinary Scholar's Mansion bowed respectfully to Lin Xian. Lin Xian glanced at them. Back then, he had left the Extraordinary Scholar's Mansion. It had been many years since then. Some people had already died. There were many new faces among the newcomers. Lin Xian said, "Seeing you reminds me of me back then. Back then, I had comprehended the wordless heavenly steel and received good fortune. Moreover, now that I'm back to comprehend this broken steel, I want to send the consciousness of the powerhouse in the heavenly steel into reincarnation. Let him reincarnate." The people of the Extraordinary Scholar's Mansion were shocked. An old man walked out and said, "Senior, the wordless heavenly steel contains a mysterious supreme art. If it disappears, it will be a great loss to us." Lin Xian said, "It's okay. I will pass on the supreme art to you." Lin Xian left behind a sword technique. Qianquan sword technique. Endless sword qi condensed into a heavenly steel standing upright in the knight's uniform. Under the heavenly steel, one could comprehend the Qianquan sword technique. When the powerhouses of the Extraordinary Scholar's Mansion saw the Qianquan sword technique, they were extremely shocked. Such a peerless technique was like a great emperor's supernatural power. "Thank you, young master." They were extremely grateful. Those young geniuses even looked up. When could they reach Lin Xian's level? Lin Xian left the Qianquan sword technique and came in front of the wordless heavenly steel. He opened the 6 paths of reincarnation and opened the passage of life and death. He said, "Senior, take care." The wordless heavenly steel slowly disappeared. Then a shadow appeared from it. Lin Xian was in a trance. He saw that the shadow seemed to turn into a green ox and left. This made Lin Xian shocked. The wordless heavenly steel was related to the ancient giants, Oxhead and Horseface, and this steel was carved out by someone. It was also a green ox. What was its relationship with the ancient ox head? Lin Xian probably had no chance to know these. The image of the azure ox entered the 6 paths of reincarnation. The moment he entered, he turned his head and nodded slightly at Lin Xian. Then he stepped in and disappeared. Lin Xian also left the extraordinary scholar's mansion. Not long after he left, there was an extra statue in the extraordinary scholar's mansion. It was a young man, handsome and confident, holding a long sword in his hand. He seemed to have an aura of disdain for the world. This statue was engraved with Lin Xian, and this statue was placed in front of the Qianquan sword stele for countless people to worship and look up to. Lin Xian returned to the South Horizon region. This was the place where he was born. At this moment, the overall strength of the South Horizon region was much stronger than when he was born. The Lin clan had long left. It was Lin Zhan who took them away. Lin Xian's mother and his clansmen were placed in a very safe place by Lin Zhan. Lin Xian didn't have to worry about this. With Lin Zhan's strength, it was enough for his clansmen to live a carefree life. Lin Xian came to an ancient tomb again. Here, the evil king was. He waved his hand, and the ancient tomb opened. A corpse appeared. I'll give you a gift. Good fortune. Lin Xian also opened the 6 paths of reincarnation and enveloped the evil king. Moreover, Lin Xian struck some laws in the other party's body, using the power of the heavenly Tao to add words. After the other party reincarnated and was reborn, his talent should be far greater than before. Thank you. When he entered the 6 paths of reincarnation, the evil king let out an old voice. Lin Xian nodded. His eyes flickered. His current strength had reached a transcendent level. Where did he want to go? He could go there with a thought. What did he want to do? He could do it with a light wave of his hand. It was as if he had really become a god in the eyes of others. Along the way, Lin Xian had seen too many cycles of reincarnation and had come to a new understanding of life. The laws on his body became even more mysterious. Unknowingly, he returned to the true spirit world. Lin Xian was thinking, this time, should I borrow the power of the Yuhua immortal dynasty? Just as he was heading to the middle continent, he met a child which stunned him. This child looked very similar to an old friend of his. Chapter 6006. It was a little boy. He was very cute, and his eyes were extremely bright. If other people saw him, they would definitely praise him. This is a cute and smart child. However, Lin Xian was stunned because he saw the shadow of Hong Yu in this child. Hong Yu was the person who gave him the eye back then. Now, seeing this child again, Lin Xian was extremely shocked. Could it be that Hong Yu had been reincarnated? Lin Xian looked at the child in a daze. At this moment, a middle-aged couple walked over and said, "Wuxia, we should go home." The cute child nodded, but before he left, he still looked at Lin Xian a few more times. His eyes were really too bright. Lin Xian walked over, which made the middle-aged couple nervous. "What do you want?" Lin Xian said, "Don't be afraid. I want to give you a chance. Can you let him stay by my side for 3 days?" "Who are you?" The middle-aged man frowned and exuded an aura. It seemed that he was also a martial arts cultivator. "I don't mean any harm." Lin Xian waved his hand, and the nearby broadsword danced in the air, condensing into a ball of light that surrounded his palm. Then he weaved it into a lotus. "Come up." He placed the lotus at the child's feet. When they saw this scene, the middle-aged couple was stunned. This young man was too terrifying. He raised his hand and picked the starlight of the universe and used the law to condense it into a lotus of the great path. He was simply a god. They were so scared that they quickly bowed. "Greetings, exalted immortal. Don't worry, I'm fated with him. I'll only stay for 3 days." "Okay." The middle-aged woman quickly nodded. They felt that there was hope for their child. Lin Xian took Wuxia to his side and asked, "Your name is Wuxia?" The child nodded. Yes, my name is Zhen Wuxie. This little guy didn't seem to be afraid of Lin Xian at all. Then Lin Xian used the eyes of the 6 paths of reincarnation to envelop him. He found that this child was indeed very mysterious. Let me help you regain your memory. Lin Xian took a deep breath. He didn't dare to be careless, even though he had an eye of the 6 paths of reincarnation. However, it was not easy to help a person who had been reborn regain their memories. After all, Hong Yu was not a martial monarch back then. His father, the battled arch, had been reborn in the past. It had taken him a long time to recover. Many martial monarchs were helping them secretly, otherwise it would have been even more difficult. For 3 days, Lin Xian had been gathering the power of reincarnation. Finally, he tapped Zhen Wuxie's forehead. Zhen Wuxie's body trembled, and his soul shook. In the next moment, a shocking light appeared in his eyes. I'm back. Although his voice was young and tender, it was filled with determination. So sleepy. In the next moment, he closed his eyes and fell asleep. Lin Xian came looking for the middle-aged couple. The middle-aged couple was very worried when they saw the unconscious Wuxie. Lin Xian, don't worry. He was just too sleepy. I have a storage ring here. I'll leave it for him to cultivate in the future. With that, Lin Xian took out a blue ring from the sword world and gave it to them. Then he soared into the air and left. Thank you, immortal. The middle-aged couple was overjoyed, especially the middle-aged woman. She checked the storage ring. I wonder what's in there? However, when she probed what was inside, she was so shocked that she froze on the spot. The middle-aged man was curious. He also took a look, and then he was dumbfounded. Heavens, was this the treasure vault of an immortal? There were too many heavenly treasures inside. It was so many that he couldn't imagine who the other party was. He left behind so many heavenly treasures so casually. There was hope for our child. The middle-aged woman cried excitedly. Needless to say, their child would definitely be an earth-shattering figure when he grew up. Lin Xian left and went on his way again. He went to many places and did many things. Lin Xian's figure appeared all over the universe. In fact, Lin Xian even saw Wu Hua's tomb. Wu Hua was also his friend back then. He didn't expect that he would be buried in a foreign land. Lin Xian opened the 6 paths of reincarnation and enveloped the tomb. He wanted to let Wu Hua reincarnate. However, a voice sounded. You're finally here. Take me away and send me to the Dead Sea. After Lin Xian heard this, he left with Wu Hua. A few days later, he was going to the Black Demon Cliff. Back then, he had obtained the inheritance of the 9 Yang divine body from there. Now, he wanted to go back and take a look. When he came to the Black Demon Cliff again, Lin Xian still felt the terrifying information. Back then, an earth-shattering battle had taken place here, causing the 9 Yang divine body to shatter. One could imagine how terrifying the battle was. After Lin Xian arrived, he felt that there was a black aura above the Black Demon Cliff that swept towards him. Lin Xian frowned tightly. This demonic aura was very strange. It was different from the demon emperors. The demon emperors was domineering, but this move in front of him was strange. He didn't know who or what left it behind. After Lin Xian arrived, he opened the 6 paths of reincarnation. He also wanted to let the soul of this generation's 9 Yang divine body enter the cycle of reincarnation. Perhaps one day he could be reborn. The phantoms of 6 worlds appeared, forming 6 channels that enveloped the Black Demon Cliff. Inside the Black Demon Cliff, there were specks of flames dancing. These were the remnant souls of the 9 Yang divine body. They quickly condensed under the 6 paths of reincarnation. However, at this time, Lin Xian frowned tightly because he found that there was some black aura condensing between these specks of light. Damn it, this should be the demonic blood. It hasn't been destroyed yet. Get lost. Lin Xian waved his hand, and struck out the great dragon sword Qi, slashing at the demonic blood. The demonic blood was cut into pieces. However, they could no longer be separated from the specks of flame. This sword not only smashed the demonic blood, but also the specks of flame. Lin Xian quickly stopped and didn't continue to attack. What was going on? Next, Lin Xian tried all kinds of methods to separate the two, but he found that he couldn't do it. After a long time, the two had merged into one. Damn it! Lin Xian gritted his teeth. At this time, the specks of light condensed again, forming an illusory soul. It was very broken. There were countless black markings on his soul. It was a ghastly sight. The broken soul seemed to be in pain and weak. He said, "I am very gratified that you can grow to this point. Continue to carry forward the 9-yang divine body. Don't bother about me anymore. And don't try to let my soul enter the 6 paths of reincarnation. I can no longer be separated from him. I don't want him to appear in this world again. Let me suppress him here forever." There was endless sadness in his voice. After Lin Xian heard this, his eyes turned red. He wanted to say again, "Senior, tell me, who is this black demonic blood? It can't be the demon emperor, right?" It wasn't him, but a demon from the other side. He was called the Demon Lord, and all the demons in the world respected him. "All right, hurry up and leave. Don't come here again. Turn off your 6 paths of reincarnation." After the broken figure finished speaking, it turned into countless specks of light and scattered in various places of the black demon cliff. "Senior, all the worlds in the universe will remember your kindness." Lin Xian bowed deeply to the black demon cliff. Then he took out a pot of strong wine from the sword world and sprinkled it on the ground. "Take care of yourself, Senior. After I attain my Tao, I will come again." Chapter 6007. Lin Xian left. After he left, a sigh was heard from the black demon cliff. At the same time, a cold voice was heard. "It's useless. Although he has left, you can't suppress me any longer. In the end, you will become mine." This voice was so cold that the surrounding black demonic aura kept churning. "I won't let you have your way." Endless rays of light flickered as the two of them clashed once again. Lin Xian didn't know any of this. After Lin Xian left the black demon cliff, he went to many places that he had been to before. This time, he had come back to walk the path of growth and had gained a lot of enlightenment. In the end, he decided to return to the Divine Union to meet his old friends. At the same time, he was prepared to bring along Morong Qingcheng, Yan Ruyu, and the others to protect Xia Jiuyo. On the other side, the Permitha Heavenly King was still as mysterious as ever. Somewhere on the Permitha Heavenly King was a huge tortoise. This tortoise was very old. No one knew how many tens of thousands of years it had lived. Countless tributes were placed around it. Every day, geniuses from the Permitha Heavenly King would come and kowtow to it. During the past few days, a terrifying light had suddenly erupted from the tortoise's back. Then it formed a pattern. This pattern was earth-shattering, as if thunder from the 9 heavens had struck. The huge tortoise opened its eyes, and its ancient body started to pulse. This caused countless people to be astonished. The elites from the Permitha Heavenly King were stunned. The Rashi Master had actually woken up. Heavens, this is too incredible. Another bunch of newcomers have awakened on our side. This is great. They were all excited. Even the virtual immortal was alarmed. The virtual immortal turned into a green light and flew over. He floated in the air and looked down at the ancient tortoise. "Have you finally awakened?" he asked. "How much have you recovered?" The ancient tortoise stuck its head out. Surprisingly, there was a crack on its head that had sunken in. It hadn't recovered even now. One could imagine how terrifying that attack had been. "Back then, I was injured by that monkey and fell into a deep sleep for so many years." A deep voice rang out. filled with endless resentment. The ancient tortoise gritted its teeth. I've just woken up. I'm afraid it'll take some time for me to recover. What about you? You managed to obtain the virtual immortal realm from Taba. Yuan Xian said, I'm not at my peak either. Back then, the heaven-devouring great emperor was equally terrifying. However, it was fortunate that there had been no news of her after so many years. She was probably dead. There was no news from the monkey either. In the end, we still won. Is that so? Was there no news about that damn monkey? That was great. Master Rashi smiled. But soon, he stopped laughing and said, while I was sleeping, I actually sensed the heavenly secrets. Something terrible has happened. I have to report it to the Grand Elder immediately. What's going on? To be able to make you so shocked. Master Rashi said, I sense that someone in the universe seems to be about to become an emperor. What? Someone was going to become a great emperor. Who was it? Even the expressions of the virtual immortals changed. On the other side, other people said, Isn't it just becoming a great emperor? Immortals, why should you be afraid? Stupid. The virtual immortals snorted. Do you know? This is the first time someone has become an emperor after the deity ground descended. This person's strength must be unfathomable. After becoming an emperor, he will be very terrifying. We will not allow such a person to appear. I originally thought that we would be the first to become an emperor in the universe. However, up until now, none of you have been able to reach such a realm. After the surrounding people heard this, their scalps went numb. Is there such a thing? My lord, please calm down. We will definitely work hard. The virtual immortals snorted and ignored them. Instead, he looked at Master Rashi and said, Can you deduce which force it is? If it's an individual cultivator, we can let him join the Nirvana realm. If it's someone from the divine realm, then it will be troublesome. Master Rashi said, according to the pattern on the turtle shell, the possibility of it being from the divine realm is very high. Therefore, this matter must be reported to the Grand Elder as soon as possible. After the virtual immortals heard this, his expression changed drastically. I'll go with you. The two land immortals soared into the sky and flew into the distance, arriving at the place where the Grand Elder was cultivating. Greetings, Grand Elder. The two land immortals were extremely terrifying existences among the great emperors. They had cultivated 3 strands of immortal chi. However, at this moment, when they met the Grand Elder, they had to be incomparably respectful. One could imagine how terrifying the Grand Elder was. What's the matter? The Grand Elder opened his eyes and woke up from his cultivation. In the next moment, when he saw Master Rashi, he was also delighted. Oh, you've finally woken up? He waved his sleeve and released endless immortal chi that enveloped Master Rashi's body. This immediately made Master Rashi's condition much better. Thank you, Grand Elder. Master Rashi was also excited. He walked over and prostrated himself on the ground. He said, Grand Elder, please take a look. The turtle shell showed that someone in the universe was about to become a great emperor, and it was very likely that it was someone from the divine realm. It was the divine realm again. After the Grand Elder heard this, his brows furrowed tightly. The virtual immortals said, Back then we fought with the divine realm and suffered a lot of injuries. Now we haven't fully recovered. Moreover, we don't know how many land immortals there are in the divine realm. Therefore, we didn't act rashly for the time being. Previously, the divine realm had been seizing the heavenly land. However, they only seized the ordinary ancient city. We didn't care. As long as the number of land immortals has recovered, we can completely crush them. But now, it seemed that the situation wasn't too good. This time, after the descent of the deity ground, the first person to become an emperor was actually someone from his side. It's probably not a good sign. Humph! After the Grand Elder heard this, He snorted coldly. If I hadn't been careless back then and didn't make any preparations, I would have entered the 9 heavens and gotten injured. Otherwise, how could the divine realm be so arrogant? The virtual immortals cupped his fists and said, "Those people from the divine realm combined are still no match for you, Grand Elder. Don't flatter me. Let me ask you, after so many years, has there been any news about the 10th land?" The virtual immortals sighed. No, the 10th land is really too mysterious. As if it doesn't exist in the world. It must exist, and the 10th land is the path to the 9 heavens. Only by finding the 10th land can I enter the 9 heavens. Only then can I truly be immortal. Only then can I live as long as the heavens and the earth, and shine as brightly as the sun and the moon. After the virtual immortals and Master Rashi heard this, they fell silent. Back then, the Grand Elder was so terrifying. In their eternal land, he wanted to open the passage to the 9 heavens, but he failed. He even suffered a backlash. From then on, the divine realm rose. The divine realm took advantage of this opportunity to quickly attack and contend with them. Although they were defeated in the end, they were now making a comeback. Go, send more people to search for news of the 10th land. Don't let go of any clues. As for the first emperor in the universe, he must also be on our side. After all, this is a good sign. I will change the heavenly Tao and suppress it. Let the universe be unable to prove its Tao in a short period of time. Chapter 6008. Tai Di said coldly. Then he waved his hand. The heavenly punishment sword appeared in the sky, and red lightning gathered. Tai Di was like the Lord of the universe at this moment. He seemed to have transformed into the heavenly Tao and changed the rules of heaven and earth. At this moment, countless claps of thunder sounded in the entire universe. Everyone looked up in horror. They could feel that heaven and earth seemed to have changed. There was a heavy force pressing down on their heads. Damn it, what's happening? Why did my cultivation speed suddenly slow down? Impossible. I was about to break through. Why can't I feel it now? Countless crazy voices could be heard. At this moment, even the monarch races and the 10,000 Archean races were roaring crazily. They weren't the only ones. Even the deity ground was the same. The quasi-emperors in the deity ground also had ugly looks on their faces. Someone exclaimed, "Why? Why did the heavenly Tao change?" The people in the universe were even more desperate. Could it be that the heaven and earth spiritual chi had dried up and they had reached the desolate era and were no longer suitable for cultivation? At this moment, everyone was stunned. Even Lin Xian's brows were tightly knitted together. He could feel that heaven and earth seemed to have formed shackles that shrouded them. It made his body and soul feel heavy. What's going on? Lin Xian frowned. It wasn't just him. The people of the Divine Union, Yi Qingyu, and the great emperor clans were the same. In fact, even the martial monarchs who had woken up were frowning. The Bone Emperor gasped. It seemed like the heavenly Tao shackles had appeared. The Yellow Spring Emperor also exclaimed, "Is this the Permethaw's doing?" They were indeed the Supreme Lords. The Supremes of the Supreme Hall also had ugly looks on their faces. He represented the heavenly Tao and transformed into the heavenly Tao. Are we really unable to fight against him? No matter how hard we try, we can't compare to the Permethaw. At this moment, there was a trace of despair in their eyes. The powerhouses of the 18th level of hell also felt it. For example, the Eagle tribe, the Molo tribe, and the Hydra tribe's patriarchs were terrified. What happened? Where is Lin Gongzi? Can you answer our questions? Ing Wufeng also came, but found that Lin Xian wasn't there. Only Xia Juyo was there. Xia Juyo's face was also extremely pale. He felt that the suppression of the heavenly Tao seemed to be targeting him this time. That was because the shackles on his body were abnormally heavy. They seemed to have completely sealed off his cultivation. Damn it, what's going on? The feeling from back then had actually returned. Back then, Xia Zhuyo was extremely terrifying. At such a young age, he had extraordinary talent and cultivated to an extremely high level. In less than 10,000 years, he had hopes of becoming a martial emperor. However, the previous Grand Emperor had just died, and the heavenly Tao was suppressing him. In this world, no one was allowed to become a martial emperor. One had to wait for 10,000 years. There wasn't enough time. So Xia Zhuyo didn't become a great emperor. Originally, they thought that this time, the world would recover. Once he reached the Golden Age, he could use it to become a martial monarch. However, he did not expect that the feeling of despair from back then would come again. This time, the suppression was even stronger than the previous time. It was 10 times stronger than before. This was definitely not a suppression that could be caused by the death of a great monarch. Who was it? Who was targeting him? Lin Xian met Morong Qingcheng and Yan Ruyu in the Divine Union. At the same time, the two of them also felt the suppression. On top of that, the Phoenix tribe, the Yi family, the Gu family, and the Qilin tribe, as well as the living fossils and the supreme elders, had all come over to pass on the news. Lin Gongzi, the situation isn't good. The suppression of the heavenly Tao is slowing down everyone's cultivation and preventing them from breaking through. Was it that serious? Morong Qingcheng and the others were shocked. What exactly was happening? On the other hand, Lin Xian's expression changed drastically. He didn't know anything else. However, there was one sentence that he had heard very clearly: suppression of cultivation, preventing a breakthrough. He had encountered such a situation before. In the beginning, his body had been sealed by the Black Lotus, and he had been unable to cultivate. Later on, he had been destroyed by the Great Dragon Sword. Now, the heavenly Tao shackles had appeared, suppressing his cultivation and preventing him from breaking through. This was targeted at him. No, this was targeted at Xia Zhuyo because Xia Zhuyo was about to become a martial emperor. Was it done by Higan? He looked up at the sky, his gaze piercing through the universe. That despicable Higan had gone too far. Lin Xian was trembling with anger. Xia Zhuyo was about to become a martial emperor. It was probably something that would happen in the next few years. Once Xia Zhuyo became a martial emperor, they would have another powerful assistant on their side. More importantly, they could use this opportunity to open the 9th underworld. But now, everything had changed. Xia Zhuyo was suppressed by the heavenly Tao shackles and could not become a martial emperor. The 9th underworld could no longer be opened. All future plans would be interrupted. Lin Xian's expression was ugly. He said, "I know. I have to leave here. Qingcheng, Ruyu, you two stay here first. When I summon you, you two come over." The two nodded. Lin Xian, on the other hand, tore apart the void and disappeared. He had returned to hell. Arriving at the 15th level of hell, Lin Xian returned to the Eagle tribe. He found that many elders and patriarchs of the tribe were waiting. Seeing Lin Xian return, they all bowed. "Greetings, Lin Gongzi." "Lin Gongzi, can you sense the suppression of the heavenly Tao?" Lin Xian said, "I have already sensed it. The heavenly Tao shackles are abnormally heavy. As for the reason, it was meaningless to say it, because this was done by the Permitha." "What? The Permitha?" After hearing this, these ancestors were in despair. The Permitha was so powerful that even martial emperors had to bow their heads in front of it. How could they resist? From the looks of it, their cultivation would be stuck at a standstill. I thought that in the Golden Era, I could go further and live for a few thousand more years. But now, it seemed that everything was in vain. Lin Xian ignored these people's sorrow. He went to the depths of the palace and saw Xia Zhuyo. He said that he wanted to go downstairs. How did it feel? Xia Zhuyo's expression was ugly. He smiled bitterly. "Maybe I'm not destined to become a martial emperor. I can feel that the shackles on my body are abnormally heavy. After hearing this, Lin Xian took a deep breath. He waved his hand and struck out the great dragon sword Qi. He stood beside Xia Zhiyo. My great dragon sword spirit can cut through the void and destroy everything. Cut these shackles for me. The void around Xia Zhiyo was cut into pieces. However, the heavy feeling on Xia Zhiyo's body still didn't disappear. I don't believe it, Lin Xian roared. He took out the great dragon sword spirit, held it with both hands, and swung it forward. With a boom, the great dragon sword spirit roared. A cage appeared on Xia Zhiyo's body. It was like a shackle that locked him up. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian's expression changed drastically. As expected, it's targeting Xia Zhiyo. Cut it for me. He roared crazily. The great dragon sword spirit slashed on the shackles, and endless sparks erupted. But it was useless. What's going on? Lin Xian frowned. The great dragon said, "This is the power of the heavenly punishment sword, the complete heavenly punishment sword, and it's probably performed by the Permitha master. It's too terrifying. In my current state, I can't cut it. How can it be like this?" Lin Xian frowned tightly. He asked, "Is there no other way?" That Taishang was actually so terrifying. Can he manipulate the entire universe at will? Chapter 6009. Tai Di turned into the heavenly Tao and suppressed the entire universe, which shocked countless people. Lin Xian's face turned ugly. Was there really no other way? Dalong said, there was still a way. They could go to the heavenly land to break through. However, after the immortal ground descended, the first person in the universe to become a great emperor would have a special meaning. It would be a pity if they missed this opportunity. There was no other way. It seemed like they could only go to the heavenly land first. Lin Xian and the rest prepared to return. Xia Zhiyo nodded. The heavenly land was the second choice. They soared into the sky and left. However, when they returned to the immortal ground and wanted to enter the heavenly land, they discovered something. A long sword cut through the void and directly cut off the path to the heavenly land. Moreover, the aura on the long sword was extremely terrifying. It surpassed ordinary great emperors. What kind of aura was that? It was too terrifying. Lin Xian's face changed when he saw the sword. Dragon-slaying sword. This sword had once killed the dragon race's 10-crown king 100,000 years ago. In the end, it broke out of the ground and disappeared into the sky. This was the sword of a virtual immortal. Was it an earth immortal? Damn it, we can't go over. We might even be discovered by him. Let's go. Let's leave. Lin Xian left with Xia Zhiyo. They had no choice. An earth immortal was a supreme existence who had cultivated 3 strands of immortal qi. He was an expert who was stronger than a demon emperor. Lin Xian and the rest couldn't resist at all. What should they do? Was there no chance? Xia Zhiyo was indignant. Lin Xian took a deep breath and said, "There's one more place. We can try." "Where?" Xia Zhiyo asked. Before Lin Xian could say anything, his face suddenly changed. He heard a call. "Grandpa, save me." It was the voice of his granddaughter, Xia Xingchen. Damn it. Is the Xia family going to make a move? No, I have to go to the Xia family first. It was impossible for the orthodox path to become a great emperor in a short period of time. He had to save Xia Xingchen first. All right, let's go to the Xia family first. Lin Xian nodded his head in agreement. Getting Xia Xingchen out of the room would save him some trouble. If he wanted to see the Xia family, he would have to go to the clan. During this period of time, the large families in the 15th level of hell had gathered countless resources and information. One of the pieces of information was that the Fiend clan had a family backing them. Lin Xian and Xia Zhiyo arrived at the Fiend clan once again. The Fiends had already retreated because they weren't a match for Lin Xian. Yet now they had returned. That was because they had the support of the Xia family. The Xia family had sent someone over. This greatly boosted the fiend's confidence, and they prepared to counterattack, so they immediately sent out a message. The people of the Xia clan brought a bell with Xia Xingqian's voice. After sending it to Xia Zhuyo, they said, "Don't worry, Xia Zhuyo will come over obediently very soon, kneeling at our feet." They began to wait. Sure enough, before long, two figures appeared outside the Fiend clan. The people of the Fiend clan had already met Lin Xian, so they recognized him. The other was an old man with a sage-like demeanor. He should be the Xia Zhuyo that the Xia family was looking for. "Please come in." Yu Shenzi walked out, dressed in black. She smiled at Lin Xian and Xia Zhuyo. Then she turned around and led the way. Lin Xian furrowed his brows. He was completely different from the last time they met. He couldn't wait to see what the fiends were relying on. He and Xia Zhuyo left. "So it's Lin Gongzi. Please take a seat," the elder of the Fiend clan said with a smile. Their expressions were very calm, and the fear from before had long disappeared. Lin Xian said, "No need, let's get to the point. Send a message to the Xia clan and tell them to release the Xia family immediately. Otherwise, they will have to bear the consequences." Although Lin Xian's voice wasn't loud, it carried a domineering aura, as if no one could resist. This shocked the people of the Fiend clan. This guy knew about the Xia family. What was even more shocking was that he had actually come at the same time as the Xia family. Heavens, does he know what he's saying? The elders of the Fiend clan were instantly enraged. In an instant, 9 elders walked out. They snorted coldly and released a terrifying dark aura. Each of them had a long black saber in their hands. They formed a saber array and enveloped Lin Xian. One of the elders said, "Young man, you don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. The Xia family isn't something you can offend. Hurry up and apologize." "That's right. We let you be arrogant before. Do you really think we're afraid of you? Today we'll teach you a lesson." The 9 elders sneered. This time, they were full of confidence and were about to attack. 9 dark sabers emitted a terrifying light and slashed toward Lin Xian. The people of the Fiend clan around them laughed. In their opinion, the other party couldn't resist at all. But in the next moment, there was a rumbling sound, and the people around them widened their eyes. Then, their faces were filled with horror, because they realized that the 9 dark sabers had been shattered by the light of the sun. Then, the 9 elders turned into ashes. "Are they dead?" Yu Shenzi was stunned. The people of the Fiend clan were also trembling in fear. What kind of method was this? The 9 elders had joined forces to form a peerless array, but they were killed in an instant. What did he do? His strength is too terrifying. He actually killed all of us. The others roared in anger. Lin Xian snorted coldly. "I wanted to spare your lives, but you don't know what's good for you. Since that's the case, I'll make you disappear from this world." Lin Xian struck out with his palm. The golden palm was like the hand of the fire god, crushing down in front of him. No, the people of the Fiend clan were instantly turned into ashes. Yu Shenzi also roared in anger. Endless dark light gathered on her body like a black moon. There was a loud boom. The black moon was shattered. The dark power was turned into ashes. Yu Shenzi was also sent flying. Her body split open, and she spat out large mouthfuls of blood. "Is this all you've got? You've really disappointed me," Lin Xian said indifferently. "How can this be? I can't even block a single attack." Yu Shenzi was in complete despair. She was the #1 genius on the 15th level of hell. Her strength was even more terrifying than Princess Mo Luo's. Only a few powerful clan leaders could match her on the 15th level, yet now he had actually been defeated. Furthermore, he had been utterly defeated. "Humph, do you know how stupid you are now?" Lin Xian asked with a smile as he turned to sit on the throne in the main hall. The people of the Fiend clan were extremely silent. They were suppressed by a young man with one hand and couldn't even lift their heads. "Where's your clan leader? Tell him to come out. I want to ask him if he wants to live or die." Lin Xian shouted coldly. In the distance, a black statue appeared from the ground and floated in the void. Then a deep voice came from her body. "I am the clan leader of the Fiend clan. Chapter 6010. So it's you. You're neither human nor ghost. No wonder the wandering tribe is so useless. Tell me, how are you going to withstand my anger?" Lin Xian sneered. "Boy, you're too arrogant. You're no longer qualified to challenge the Nether tribe because our trump card is here." After saying that, the dark power on his body became even more terrifying, as if he had opened the door to hell. Boundless laws condensed, causing the whole world to tremble. The Nether tribe members were shocked. Their patriarch's strength was even more terrifying than before. Even Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He could feel that the laws on the patriarch's body were very strong. It was far stronger than the other elders. "How is it? Boy, do you feel it? The power on my body has definitely surpassed the aura of hell." The patriarch of the Nether tribe threw his head back and laughed. "Are you shocked? Are you afraid? Humph, do you really think you can compete with us? Why don't you think about the supreme existence behind us?" As soon as he finished speaking, the patriarch of the Nether tribe attacked. His statue-like palm slapped out toward Lin Xian. This palm was extremely terrifying, bringing with it endless dark light. It swept over like a vast sea. The surrounding void kept shattering. This little power was pitifully weak. Lin Xian sneered and waved his sleeve. Endless divine fire flew out, piercing through the world and tearing the giant hand to shreds. Then the endless flames hit the statue, and the statue flew backward. It was covered with cracks, and many stones fell from it. "Ah!" A miserable cry came back, making people's scalps tingle. The people of the Nether clan were stupefied by this scene. Their patriarch was injured, and severely injured at that. This was impossible. The Nether tribe members roared crazily. Yu Shinzi's face was pale. Even their patriarch was no match for them. At this time, Lin Xian stood up and said in a deep voice, there was no need for the Nether tribe to exist anymore. The divine fire on his body became even more terrifying, as if he had turned into a sun god. Feeling this aura, everyone in the Nether tribe despaired. Even the patriarch of the Nether tribe was terrified. "Impossible! How can you be so strong?" "Ignorant ant," Lin Xian sneered and threw a punch. "Patriarch, quick, borrow the strength of the Xia clan." At this critical moment, Fairy Yu shouted. The clan leader nodded his head in agreement. "The high and mighty Xia clan, please bestow upon me strength." As his voice fell, a void door seemed to open behind him, and an extremely terrifying black aura enveloped her. In the next moment, the statue's speed increased by several times, and it dodged in an instant. Boom, the void, where he was originally standing, shattered, and he appeared on the other side. The power on his body condensed into a black armor, and a terrifying and powerful aura enveloped the entire area. His strength was actually twice as strong as before. "Great, the power of the Xia family has appeared." Fairy Yu heaved a sigh of relief when she saw this. The Fiend clan cultivators laughed proudly. "Brat, let's see how you die this time. Clan leader, please capture him. Pull out his tendons, skin him alive, and make him wish he was dead. So what if you're strong? So what if you've suppressed the other great clans? So what if you're Lin Wudi?" In the face of the power of the Xia clan, everything would be reduced to ashes. "Brat, die!" The clan leader roared to the sky after obtaining the power of the Xia clan. Then he formed a seal with his palm and slammed it down. At this moment, his entire body was covered in armor, and his black palm was covered in a black metal that emitted a cold light. This was the power of the Xia clan. The palm stopped when it was 1 meter away from Lin Xian, unable to advance any further. This stunned the fiend clan warriors. What's going on? Why isn't the clan leader attacking? Even Yu Shenzi was stunned, while the Nether clan leader broke out in a cold sweat. How could this be? He sensed that there seemed to be a powerful force blocking everything around Lin Xian. His palm could not advance any further. Damn it, I don't believe it. Destroy him for me. He struck out with both palms. But in the next moment, his palm was actually broken by the rebounding force. A powerful sword chi rushed out of Lin Xian's body and sent him flying. The black armor on his body shattered into pieces and scattered all over the ground. The clan leader's body shattered into pieces, and his statue shattered. His soul turned into a ball of black flames that danced in the air. Impossible. He let out the most terrified scream. What's going on? He had obtained the power of the Xia clan. So why couldn't he defeat his opponent? Fairy Yu and the others were so frightened by this scene that they fell to their knees. The clan leader was seriously injured. Heavens, who could explain this to them? Why did this happen? Everyone was dumbfounded. Boom. Lin Xian struck out with the 9 Suns' divine palm, shattering the fiend clan leader into pieces. At this moment, the clan leader's soul was completely destroyed, and he could no longer be revived. No, the fiend clan warriors cried until they fainted. Had their clan leader died? Fairy Yu was also dumbfounded. Lin Xian said coldly, Xia clan, come out. I can sense your arrival. Humph, brat, you're really arrogant. How dare you kill the subordinate I chose? Tell me, how do you want to die? 2 ice-cold voices rang out from the void, shocking everyone. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. The fiend clan leader was actually the subordinate of the other party. Judging from their tone, they were indeed from the Xia clan. Xia, Jiuyo's expression became extremely serious. He said, Lin Gongzi, it's them. I can sense their bloodline. Jiuyo's bloodline. It was indeed them. Lin Xian turned to look at the 2 of them. One was a middle-aged man, and the other was a young man. They were both wearing black armor, and their auras were similar to the ones from before. However, they were much stronger than the fiend clan leader. You're from the Xia clan? Lin Xian asked. The young man opposite him said, Brat, you really don't know what's good for you. Since you know we're from the Xia clan, why don't you kneel and kowtow to us? If you can make me happy, I might leave your corpse intact. You? Lin Xian sneered. You're not qualified to say that. The 2 of you can come at me together. What did you say? Are you looking down on me? The young man was completely enraged. Die. He snorted and slapped out the 9 underworld seal. The black seal carried an unfathomable aura. It was as if it could swallow mountains and rivers. With a raise of his hand, it flew forward. Everywhere it passed, mountains collapsed, and the earth cracked. The fiend clan members were both frightened and excited. This is great. This power is definitely enough to kill the other party. Lin Xian sneered and waved his hand. A ray of sword chi flew out and slashed forward. A huge crack appeared in the void, and in the next moment, it collided with the 9 underworld seal. An earth-shattering sound rang out. The entire sky shattered like a mirror, and an endless black hole appeared. The 9 underworld seal was split into 2. Not only that, the young man opposite him screamed as he was split apart by the sword. Chapter 60:11. What's so great about the Xia family? In my opinion, they're just SOSO. Lin Xian waved his hand and suppressed the 2 halves of the body. The armored youth screamed in agony. Uncle, save me. The middle-aged man's expression changed. Damn brat. You dare to let him go? To be honest, he was going crazy. The young man he brought with him was one of the top geniuses of the Xia family. In his opinion, the people in the 15th level of hell were trash. The two of them were enough to sweep them all away. However, he didn't expect such a powerful young man to appear. In the next instant, he stared at Xia Jiuyou. He said, "You're also a member of the Xia family. Tell your friend to stop. Otherwise, you know the consequences." Xia Jiuyou shook his head silently. Then he said, "Lin Gongzi's strength isn't something you can fight against. Seeing that we're from the same family, I'll give you a piece of advice. Surrender. Let go of my granddaughter, and you'll be fine. Otherwise, the family will suffer great losses." The middle-aged man was going crazy. What did he say? The Xia family will suffer great losses? Just because of this young man? What a joke. You're Xia Jiuyou, right? Although I've never seen you before, I've heard of your story. You're very pitiful, and I sympathize with you. However, sacrificing yourself for the family is nothing. So, follow me back to the family obediently. The family needs you now. Shameless. Xia Jiuyou was furious. Sacrificing himself was nothing, but why? Could it be that his life was not a life? Lin Xian also said, "I'll give Xia Jiuyou face and give you one last chance. Kneel down and submit. Let go of Xia Xingchen. Otherwise, the Xia family is finished. Stupid thing, you've challenged the Xia family time and time again. I think you don't want to live anymore. Today, I'll let you know the strength of the Xia family." The middle-aged man walked out, a terrifying aura erupting from his body. Terrifying black laws rushed into the 9 heavens. The terrifying power was earth-shattering. This person's strength was very strong. He had long surpassed the 9-crown king. He was almost a great emperor. Feeling this aura, the entire 15th level of hell collapsed. The elders and patriarchs of the top families felt their scalps go numb. Heavens! What kind of aura was this? An exceptional expert had descended. Did you feel it? This is my power. I am only one step away from becoming a great emperor. Is that so? In that case, you're still far inferior to the great emperor, but I'm different. I once killed a great emperor. Moreover, there's more than one. Do you think you can be compared to me? After hearing this, the surrounding people were stunned. The middle-aged man was stunned as well. Lin Fan had killed more than one great emperor? What kind of joke was that? Just you? Who do you think you are? The Xia family. He lived in the 16th level of hell all year round and did not care about the outside world. Therefore, he had never seen Lin Xian before. Hearing such arrogant words, the middle-aged man burst into laughter. It was as if he was looking at an idiot. Lin Xian stepped forward, releasing his aura as he said, "Then I'll let you experience what it means to have someone stronger than you." Lin Xian's 9 yang divine body blossomed with an extremely resplendent radiance. 9 suns revolved between heaven and earth. 10 crown kings' power swept out. At this moment, the 15th level of hell was completely suppressed. Everyone was prostrating on the ground. Even the patriarchs of the family clans trembled and knelt on the ground. Ing Wufeng also sucked in a cold breath. He said, "This is Lin Gongzi's power." Lin Gongzi was furious. Someone was going to be unlucky. After hearing this, the patriarch of the eagle race almost fainted. Was this Lin Gongzi's true power? It was too terrifying. Only now did she know how terrifying the young man living in their home was. This time, the situation was really bad. So, what if the fiend race had the Xia family behind them? Could they really contend with Lin Gongzi? The armored fiend's eyes widened, and his whole body trembled. It was as if he had seen the most unbelievable thing. This was impossible. Your 10-crown king? He was crazy. 10-crown king had already surpassed him. His power was comparable to a great emperor. His opponent was actually 10-crown king, and his power was so strong that it seemed to counter him. This was the legendary 9 yang divine body. Who are you? Who exactly are you? He roared crazily. If 10 Crown King really was 10 Crown King, he might really be able to contend with a great emperor. Lin Xian said indifferently, "You're stupid. You haven't even heard of my name. Listen carefully. I'm Lin Wudi." "What? You're Lin Wudi?" The middle-aged man was completely stunned. Although the Xia family didn't care about the outside world, some major events had happened recently. They still knew about them. For example, the descent of the deity land, the awakening of the deity land, and the Permitha and Paragon halls. They all knew about such existences. At the same time, they also knew that a young man had appeared in the universe. He was extremely terrifying and had swept across the world with his title of invincibility. He had even killed a great emperor of the Permitha continent. This young man in front of them was the legendary invincible genius. She was completely stupefied. He had been pretending not to care about this young man, but now he was nothing more than an ant in front of him. If this young man wanted to kill him, it would be as easy as flipping his hand. He said in fear, "So it was the invincible young Master Lin. I offended you before, and I apologize to you here." At this moment, even the arrogant experts of the Xia family had to bow their heads. Below, the people of the Serene family were stunned. Even the Xia family didn't dare to be arrogant. Lin Xian smiled. "You've bowed your head? If you knew this would happen, you wouldn't have done it in the first place. Tell your family that if you let Xia Xingchen go now, I'll spare your lives." The middle-aged man shook his head. "No, young Master Lin, I know that your talent is unparalleled, and you are a top-notch genius. You have the potential to become a great emperor in the future. However, you shouldn't get involved in this matter. The strength of the Xia family isn't something you can imagine. We're not from the universe. We're from the mysterious geolands. That place isn't something you can imagine. If you offend the Xia family, I'm afraid you'll die. I'm just an ordinary member of the Xia family, so I advise you to stop. Let Xia, Jill go back with me. After this, I'll send you a gift to thank you." Lin Xian sighed. "I've said so much, but you're still stubborn. Since that's the case, don't blame me for being impolite. It's over." After speaking, Lin Xian raised a finger and attacked. Feeling this power, the middle-aged man's hair stood on end. He roared, "Lin Wudi, don't you go too far. I may not be your opponent, but if I want to escape, you can't stop me. You're too reckless. When I return to my family, I'll have the strongest experts of my family come and suppress you." After speaking, the middle-aged man tore open the void and tried to escape. Hong! At this moment, Lin Xian sent out a ray of sword qi. It cut through the void like a golden lightning bolt. Lin Xian performed the 9-yang sword technique with his fingers, splitting the world apart with a single slash. The middle-aged man's body was split into 2 halves. Impossible! His soul tried to escape, but it was still destroyed by the sharpness of the sword qi. Until his death, he refused to believe that Lin Xian could kill him with a single finger. Chapter 60:12. Dead. The surrounding people were dumbfounded. Such a terrifying expert from the Xia family was close to the great emperor realm, yet he had been killed in seconds. They could not accept this. "How dare you kill my uncle? You're dead meat. The Xia family will not let you off." On the other side, the young man who was suppressed by the Xia family roared. Lin Xian turned around and said, "It's your turn." He punched out. The armored young man was killed. Yu Xianzi and the rest fell to their knees. Another one had died. 2 of the Xia family's experts had fallen. It was over. They had poked a hornet's nest. Given the Xia family's strength and status, they would not let this matter rest. At the 16th level of hell, the Xia family was enraged when they learned that the 2 people who had gone there had died. An elder let out a crazy roar. Who in hell would be so reckless? How dare he kill a member of the Xia family? Go. kill him, and destroy his soul. The Xia family was not to be challenged in hell. Now that someone had slapped them in the face, they had to kill the other party at all costs. The Great Elder even ordered the 9 Nether Soul to be sent. Was he going to activate that thing? The Xia family was shocked. Then they laughed coldly. Once the 9 Nether Soul was activated, the other party would definitely die. There was an ancient altar in the Xia family. A black aura flew out from it and condensed into a black shadow. It was the 9 Nether Soul. Its aura was so terrifying that it could crush all the worlds. Its aura had reached the Supreme Realm. Go, and kill the enemy. The 9 Nether Soul tore through the void and headed for the 15th level of hell. Boom. The place where the Nether family was at was still filled with blood. Everyone was still in a daze. Suddenly, the void shattered, and the terrifying 9 Nether laws spread out. An extremely terrifying pressure swept out. An earth-shattering sound rang out. The Nether family members were so frightened that they fell to their knees. What was this? Yu Xianzi exclaimed. This was the Xia family's method. Could it be the legendary 9 Nether Soul? What? The elders were shocked as well. The 9 underworld spirit only existed in legends. This was an existence that definitely surpassed the 9 crowned king. Even Xia Jiu frowned. He said, Lin Gongzi, be careful. The 9 underworld soul is terrifying. It's a secret technique of the Xia clan. Oh, really? Lin Xian raised his head and looked ahead. Sure enough, he found a black soul with a gloomy and cold aura. Who dares to kill a member of my Xia family? The 9 netherworld soul shouted coldly after coming out. It's me. Do you have a problem with that? Lin Xian said in a deep voice. The 9 serenity's soul immediately stared at the young man in front of him. It's you? Get over here and accept your death. Otherwise, I'll destroy all of your souls. The monstrous aura that the 9 underworld soul emitted had already reached the level of a supreme being. Fairy Yu and the others were on the verge of despair. It was too terrifying. This kind of power had completely surpassed the previous 2 people. It was not something they could resist. Just you? I don't care about a mere supreme being. Does your Xia family only have such an expert? What? Fairy Yu and the others were dumbfounded. Is he not afraid of a supreme being? How is this possible? How heaven-defying is this Lin Wudi? How dare you look down on me? Go to hell. The 9 Nether Soul was furious. He could not tolerate being challenged by a young man. He quickly rushed over, and the soul power on his body covered the sky and ground, crushing down. Lin Xian stood there and snorted. The dragon soul in his body roared, and the dragon-shaped sword aura on his body soared into the sky. It was as if it was going to tear the universe apart. Boom. The 9 Nether Soul was shocked when he felt the terrifying soul aura. He stopped in midair, bewildered. What was that sound? Are you from the Dragon Clan? Lin Xian smiled. He waved his hand, and the dragon-shaped sword aura flew out. The power of the great dragon sword soul continued to spread. He wondered if a mere soul could still survive after being destroyed by this sword. Lin Xian gently waved his sword, and the void shattered. On the other side, the 9 Nether Soul was dumbfounded. This sword aura? This aura. This was the power of the great dragon sword. Heavens, the great dragon sword appeared again. The horrifying 9 Nether Soul shouted in horror. In the next moment, all the power in her body disappeared, and she knelt on the ground. Greetings, Lord Dragon Sword. This scene left Yu Xianzi and the others completely dumbfounded. What did he just see? A supreme being level expert was actually kneeling now, and she was kneeling in front of Lin Xian. What was going on? Even the supreme being could not be compared to this young man. Impossible. In the distance, there was a man from the Xia family. He held a black gourd in his hand. This time, he came with the 9 Nether Soul. Her name was Xia Tian. He had been hiding in the dark and did not make a move. But when he saw this scene, his eyes almost popped out. The high and mighty nine nether soul of their family was kneeling. Even Xiajuya was stunned. To be honest, he had thought that there would be a huge battle. But who would have thought that the nine nether soul would be so cowardly? Was this the power of the great dragon sword? Lin Xian was also stunned. The nine nether soul knew the great dragon sword and was afraid of it. Wasn't it very powerful before? Lin Xian looked ahead and sneered. The nine nether soul shook her head frantically. I was wrong. I didn't know that you were the successor of the dragon sword. If I had known, I wouldn't have dared to do it even if I had 100 guts. Where is Lord Dragon Sword now? Send my regards to him. The nine nether soul's voice was trembling. Why? Summer, who was at the back, was completely stunned. The nine nether soul said that the nine nether realm had opened once 1,000,000 years ago. At that time, a great emperor-level nine nether soul had come out and headed to the universe. We had wanted to show off our skills, but in the sky, a dragon sword streaked across and killed the great emperor-level nine nether soul. Her soul was destroyed. At that time, there were many experts from the Xia family following the great emperor-level nine nether soul. When they saw this scene, they all went crazy. Later, we found out that the sword was the great dragon sword. What? A sword light killed a great emperor. Xia Tian was dumbfounded. The people from the Nether clan were even more stunned. What kind of divine sword was this? A great emperor was like cutting vegetables. It was too unbelievable. Even Lin Xian was stunned. Previously, he had always thought that the great dragon sword was on par with an extreme grade weapon. But now, it seemed that was not the case at all. An extreme grade weapon could not easily kill a great emperor, but the great dragon sword seemed to be able to. He asked through voice transmission, Great Dragon, have you killed the nine nether soul back then? Great Dragon said that there was an earth-shattering battle 1,000,000 years ago. At that time, there were countless experts and there were even several earth immortals. I've killed quite a few great emperors. The nine nether soul was probably too weak for me to remember. Lin Xian was speechless after hearing this. Great emperors were weak. To be honest, he didn't dare to say such a thing now. Although he could kill great emperors, it was not easy every time. He had to go all out. However, Great Dragon said it so casually. How terrifying was the great dragon sword at its peak back then? Chapter 6013. The submission of the nine nether soul left everyone dumbfounded. Summer, who was behind him, also roared crazily. How could it be like this? Ancestor, you are the nine nether soul. Can't you defeat him? Even if he had the great dragon sword, his cultivation was still too weak, and the great dragon sword should have been destroyed in the battle back then. He doesn't have the power of his peak anymore. Kill him. Hearing this, those who were humorous all looked up at the nine nether soul. Even a nine nether soul was moved. Lin Xian laughed when he heard that. No more power from back then? Are you sure? Lin Xian waved his hand and released the great dragon sword soul. The terrifying dragon-shaped sword shadow circled around. A shocking sword energy swept across. The nine nether soul trembled in fear. It was this aura. Although it was the first time he saw the great dragon sword soul, this terrifying aura made him tremble in fear. He said, Young master, please spare my life. I won't dare to attack you again. Really? Then what are you going to do if he provokes me? Lin Xian looked at the nine nether soul and said, Young master, you must kill him. If he dares to challenge the young master, he will definitely die. I will personally kill him. With that, the nine nether soul turned around and looked at Summer. Today, I will clean up the house. With that, the nine nether souls slapped out. Ancestor, you can't do this to me. Damn it, Black Gourd, search him. Summer roared crazily. He activated the black gourd in his hand, trying to capture the nine nether soul. The Nine Nether Soul sneered. I live in the Black Gourd all year round, but I'm not someone an ant like you can capture. As soon as he finished speaking, his palm enveloped Summer and turned her into ashes. The Nine Nether Soul waved his hand and grabbed the Black Gourd. Then he said, Young master, I have killed the person who offended you. Are you satisfied? The surrounding people were completely dumbfounded when they saw this scene. The Nine Nether Soul killed a member of the Xia family. Was it all because of Lin Xian's words? It was unbelievable. Lin Xian said, I don't care about an ant, but now I have one more thing for you to do. If you do this, I can spare your life. After hearing that, the Nine Nether Soul said, What is it? Just tell me. Blade Mountain Flame Sea Guild would not hesitate. Lin Xian said, It's simple. Take me back to the Xia family. Young master wants to go to the Xia family? The Nine Serenity Soul was stunned. Was the other party walking right into a trap? However, his heart skipped a beat when he saw Xia Jiuyou. Perhaps there were other reasons. What? You don't want to? Lin Xian waved the dragon-shaped sword in his hand. An earth-shattering power appeared. The Nine Nether Soul hurriedly shook his head. No, I'll bring the young master back to my family. On the 16th floor of hell, the people of the Xia family were also stunned. Xia's soul jade pendant had shattered. Summer is dead. How is this possible? Summer had followed the Nine Nether Soul. The Nine Nether Soul was a supreme being, and it could even fight against a great emperor. How could he let Summer fall? Damn it, what the hell happened? Everyone from the Xia clan was dumbfounded. Where was the Nine Nether Spirit now? What was going on? Who was the enemy? Countless voices of discussion could be heard. However, at this moment, the void above the Xia clan shattered, and countless cracks appeared. Soon after, a huge vortex was formed, and a terrifying aura rushed out from the vortex. The people of the Xia clan raised their heads in horror. Someone is attacking? Who dares to behave atrociously in the Xia clan? Are you courting death? Many experts leaped into the sky. In the next moment, they fell back. They were stunned. They realized that the Nine Nether Soul had returned. Many of the Xia clan heaved a sigh of relief. Great, the Nine Nether Soul was safe and sound. This made them feel relieved. However, they soon cried out in alarm. No, there were still people on the Nine Nether Soul. They realized that there were two figures standing on the Nine Nether Soul. Was the Nine Nether Soul being used as a mount? Heavens, who are these two people? They are too arrogant. Are they stepping on the Xia clan's head? Countless experts looked carefully and realized that one of the two people was a young man. He had a handsome face, but he looked unfamiliar. The other was an old man with white hair and an air of immortality. Although they did not recognize him, they could sense the bloodline of the Nine Nether Soul on him. He was from the Xia clan. Furthermore, to be able to come here, could it be Xia Jiuyou? It was indeed him. Immediately, someone snorted. Xia Jiuyou, did you come back to apologize to the clan? Come over and kneel on the ground to await the punishment of the clan. A cold voice sounded. They did not seem to put Xia Jiuyou in their eyes. In the sky, Xia Jiuyou's expression was cold. He was searching for the whereabouts of Xia Xingchen. Lin Xian said to teach them a lesson. Yes, I know. The Nine Nether Soul under his feet quickly attacked. A huge palm came crashing down from the sky. The arrogant experts of the Xia clan were all sent flying. Some were torn into pieces, and some were vomiting blood. As for the palaces of the villa below, they were all collapsing. No, many people turned into a bloody mist in this attack. More miserable cries could be heard. Why did this happen? Is it the Nine Nether Soul or power? Why did he attack the clan? Damn it, who can tell me what happened? Why did he attack us? Could it be that the Nine Nether Soul is being controlled by someone? Countless angry roars could be heard. The elders of the Xia clan were also going crazy. The Nine Nether Soul was at the supremacy level. Who could control such an existence? Quickly, Invite the clan leader over." Soon, a middle-aged man walked over. He was the current clan leader of the Xia clan. After he arrived, he took out a token that had the radiance of the 9 Nether Soul. He said, "9 Nether Soul, are you betraying the clan? Do you want to be chased by the clan forever like Xia Jiu?" A cold voice sounded. At the same time, he waved his hand, and a world cage appeared. Inside the cage was a girl. Her eyes were as bright as the stars, and she was very beautiful. She was Xia Jiu's granddaughter, Xia Xingchen. "Xia Jiu, do you think you can fight against the clan just by teaming up with the 9 Nether Soul? You're too stupid. Kneel down now, or I'll destroy your granddaughter's soul." "Xingchen." Xia Jiu's expression changed. Xia Xingchen also shouted, "Grandpa, be careful. Leave quickly, the Xia clan is very powerful." After being suppressed for a few days, Xia Xingchen understood the strength of the Xia clan. They were unfathomable. No matter how strong her grandpa was, he wouldn't be able to resist them. The 9 Nether Souls said, "Clan leader, surrender. You're no match for Lin Gongzi. Don't go against Lin Gongzi, or the Xia clan will be destroyed." When they heard this, the Xia clan went crazy. Someone could destroy their clan? What a joke. 9 Nether Soul, is your soul being controlled? What Lin Gongzi? Who does he think he is? The clan leader also said coldly, "I'll give you one last chance." As he said that, he grabbed Xia Xingchen with one hand. If he used any strength, Xia Xingchen's soul would be destroyed. Chapter 6014. Xia Xingchen felt the threat of death. Xia Jiu's face also changed. Lin Xian walked out and said, "Elder Xia, don't worry. I'll kill him." With a wave of his hand, the great dragon sword spirit appeared and slashed forward. With one slash, the sky fell and the earth cracked. The people of the Xia family were stunned. What kind of sword was this? Countless people couldn't help but feel their souls tremble and want to kneel on the ground. What was this? The face of the Xia family's leader changed. At first, he looked disdainful. How could a strange young man be compared to him? However, when he felt the sword, he was completely stunned. This person was too strong. He roared to the sky. "Geo Hell!" 9 chains appeared on his arm. They were extremely black and emitted a shocking aura. The 9 chains were able to bind everything. He wanted to bind the sword Qi. However, he underestimated Lin Xian. The attack of the great dragon sword was not something he could withstand. After one slash, he was cut in half. I can't accept this. The leader of the Xia family only had time to let out a scream before his soul was destroyed. He was dead. The elders of the Xia clan were dumbfounded. Their clan leader had died just like that. That's impossible. Who is this brat? With a wave of his sleeve, Lin Xian tore the cage apart and brought Xia Xingchen to his side. He said, "Don't worry. From now on, no one can save you. You are Lin Xian." Xia Xingchen was shocked. She didn't expect Lin Xian to be so powerful now. "Grandpa, I'm fine." Xia Xingchen looked at Xia Jiu and said. Xia Jiu's eyes turned red. "Lin Gongzi, thank you so much. If it wasn't for Lin Xian, it would be difficult for him to save Xia Xingchen. Elder Xia, you don't have to be so polite with me. Xingchen is also my sister. By the way, how do you plan to deal with the Xia family?" Lin Xian looked down. The light of reincarnation appeared in his eyes. The members of the Xia family were enveloped by this gaze. Instantly, their bodies trembled. Was the other party's eyes also so terrifying? Lin Xian descended with Xia Jiu and Xia Xingchen. After that, Lin Xian said, "Xia family, tell me, how do you plan to appease my anger?" "Who are you?" The great elder walked out with a malevolent expression on his face. Their clan leader had died in the hands of this man. However, they actually didn't dare to make a move now. That was because the sword strike from before had truly stunned all of them. Our Xia clan has an extraordinary background. You can't afford to offend us. The third elder walked out and shouted coldly. In the end, Lin Xian glared at him. 6 paths of reincarnation. The third elder's soul turned into ashes. He was dead. Everyone was horrified. Killing an elder with a single glance. What kind of power was this? The 9 nether soul also said, "Idiot, hurry up and apologize to Lin Gongzi. If not, your family will really be destroyed." "Shut your mouth." The great elder roared crazily. "You have no right to lecture us. You betrayed the family. Do you think you're the only 9 nether soul in the Xia family? Just you wait. You will regret this. Please, old ancestor." The great elder knelt down in the distance. The other members of the Xia family also knelt down one after another. "Ancestor, please help." Their voices were loud and solemn, spreading far and wide. In the next moment, there was the sound of chains being unlocked. Ghostly wails and howls resounded between heaven and earth, as if the gates of hell had been opened. A gust of chilly wind swept across the entire world. The bodies of the people below trembled. Xia Juyo's expression was also solemn. "Not good, young master. Be careful." The Xia family's background is indeed extraordinary. He also came from this family, so he naturally knew how terrifying the Xia family was. "Who is it? It's calling me." A low voice sounded. Suddenly, the sky fell and the earth cracked. Many phantoms of white bones appeared in the surroundings. The great elder fell to the ground and said, "Ancestor, please calm down. The Xia family is in a life and death crisis. We have no choice but to summon you. Our clan leader has fallen. The enemy is very strong. Please help us." "Who is it? How dare you come to the Xia family and behave so atrociously?" In the next moment, the sound of footsteps was heard. Heaven and earth shattered. It was as if a ghost god walked out from inside. With his appearance, a terrifying aura swept across every corner of the sky. The members of the Xia family felt the suppression of their bloodline. Xia Juyo's expression changed drastically. "This person is very terrifying. It's that person from back then." His eyes instantly turned red. Back then, he wanted to prove his Tao and become a great emperor. He had once returned to the Xia family and asked for help. However, the Shi family refused. In the end, they fell out. Someone had once chased after him and injured him. He even almost died back then. Back then, there was an old man who struck out with a palm in the air and seriously injured him. Now, that person has come out again. Great elder, it's him. It's this kid. He killed the clan leader. And Xia Jiu, do you remember? The traitor of the family. He's back. Ancestor, please help us suppress him. Xia Jiu, I remember him. He has the Jiu body. His destiny is to sacrifice for the family. However, he dared to escape and betray the family. I won't let him go. He was lucky last time. This time, it's time for him to die. The cold voice sounded again. A tall figure walked out. "Greetings, ancestor." The great elder and the others kowtowed. Then they stared at Lin Xian and said, "Kid, you're dead. No matter how strong you are, you'll definitely die. Even a great emperor can't do it." They seemed to be able to see the scene of Lin Xian's death. They sneered at Xia Juyo. "Traitor, you'll regret it." A silhouette appeared in front of them. This silhouette looked very young, but it was actually an extremely terrifying old monster. His long black hair hung to the ground. There were black tattoos on his body. His eyes were like black whirlpools. He looked as if he had walked out of the 9th level of hell. He was extremely powerful. In the next moment, he stared at Lin Xian and Xia Juyo. He shouted coldly, "Ants, die." His palm slammed forward. The void shattered like glass. It couldn't withstand it at all. So strong. This was a great emperor's family. It was indeed extraordinary. There was a great emperor sleeping in the 17th level of hell. Facing such a terrifying punch, Lin Xian roared. 9 young divine body, the golden palm was brighter than the sun. It pushed forward. The two collided, and an earth-shattering sound erupted. The surrounding people were all sent flying, vomiting blood. The great elder and the others were shocked. How could it be? He actually blocked the ancestor's attack. I don't believe it. Could he be a martial monarch too? What ancestor? You're just SOL. Lin Xian retracted his palm and said coldly. In front, the black-haired ancestor was dumbfounded. You actually have the combat strength of a great emperor. No wonder you're so arrogant. However, the Xia family isn't something you can challenge. Today, I'll show you the terror of the Xia family. Old man, come out too, the black-haired ancestor said to the distance. In the next instant, a sinister chuckle sounded. Following that, a terrifying burst of energy burst forth once more. Another martial monarch had awakened. It was the previous clan leader. Old clan leader, it's great that you're here. Even the old patriarch had woken up. That brat was definitely dead. So what if he's a great emperor? He's definitely no match for the Xia family. Chapter 60:15. Big Brother Lin is in danger. Xia Xingchen was extremely nervous. Xia Jiao also took a deep breath. It looked like he was about to make a move. He said, Lin Gongzi, I'll join forces with you. Xia Jiao had the 9 netherworld body and was also a 10-crown king. He also had the battle strength of a great emperor. With a loud boom, the world was torn apart and an old man walked out from it. The elder was as withered as a zombie, but the power in his body was extremely terrifying. After he came out, he stared at 9 netherworld soul. He said, What are you waiting for? 9 netherworld soul was also shocked. He didn't expect that 2 great emperors would awaken this time. However, he still didn't go over because he knew that Lin Xian was even more terrifying. Lin Xian was the successor of the Great Dragon Sword. The Great Dragon Sword was something that the Xia family was very afraid of. He said, Don't go against him. His identity is not ordinary. However, the previous patriarch sneered. What identity? Do you think you can scare me? The black-haired patriarch also said, You're too stupid. No wonder you can't become a great emperor. Cowards don't have the right to be righteous. Come, let's attack together and suppress the 2 of them as quickly as possible. The 2 great emperors walked towards Lin Xian. Xia Jiao took a deep breath and was about to attack with a roar. However, at this moment, a dragon's roar sounded from within his body. Then, thousands of dragon sword chi rushed out of his body. At this moment, he seemed to have turned into a dragon god. The sword chi rushed into the sky. What was this? The 2 patriarchs stopped. They felt a sense of horror. In the next moment, they looked towards Lin Xian. In an instant, they saw that there seemed to be a sword beside Lin Xian. It was a long sword with a dragon's head. The aura on it was too sharp. It seemed to be able to split their bodies. The sword light flashed and formed countless dragons bearing their fangs and brandishing their claws. In the next moment, the 2 of them cried out, What is this sword chi? Damn it, why is it so similar to the sword light from 1,000,000 years ago? No way. Is that the great dragon sword? No. How could the great dragon sword appear in the Xia family? At this moment, both patriarchs had gone mad. They were all great emperors, so they naturally knew what had happened 1,000,000 years ago. Back then, the most talented great emperor of their family had appeared out of nowhere and headed to the universe. In the end, he was killed by a single sword strike. His heart and soul were destroyed, and he didn't even have the chance to escape. That sword was none other than the legendary Great Dragon Sword. Now that the Great Dragon Sword had appeared again, how could they not be shocked? He was actually the owner of the great dragon sword. The two great emperor realm-old ancestors retreated in fear. This scene made the people of the Xia family go crazy. Patriarch, what's going on? Make your move. That's right. Ancestor, the two of them are no match for you. Ancestor, please make a move. However, no matter how the first elder and the others shouted, the two old ancestors did not dare to step forward. Instead, he looked as if he had seen a ghost. As expected, seeing this scene, the 9 netherworld souls sighed. It seemed that the other party had also recognized the great dragon sword. Lin Xian said, "Why aren't you fighting? In fact, I'm looking forward to fighting with you." The face of the previous generation's patriarch was ugly. He gritted his teeth and said, "What was that sword phantom just now? Was it the great dragon sword?" "Yes, it's the great dragon sword you imagined." "How about it? Do you want to feel its sharpness?" Lin Xian asked with a smile. It really was. The previous generation's patriarch's hair stood on end. The black-haired patriarch's face also changed drastically. "You are the successor of the great dragon sword. How did the Xia family offend you?" He was going crazy. These ignorant clansmen dared to offend the successor of the great dragon sword. Are they trying to kill us? Thinking of this, he grabbed the first elder and slapped him a few times, turning the first elder's head into a pig's head. Then he said, "Tell me, what's going on? Who asked you to offend him? You want to kill me?" The first elder was stunned. He was beaten until he screamed, "Patriarch, please spare me. Is he very powerful? He came to us first. How dare you still be stubborn? Apologize to me." The great elder was beaten to the point of hovering between life and death. The other elders were also frightened. "Is this young man really so scary? Young master, please forgive us. Is there any misunderstanding between you and our family? I think we can solve it." The previous generation's patriarch also cupped his fists and said, "They really didn't want to face the great dragon sword. Misunderstanding? You caught Xia Xingchen before. Give me an explanation." After hearing this, the two patriarchs' faces darkened. He was standing up for Xia Jiuyou. He said, "Xia Jiuyou is a member of our family. Our family needs him now. Young master, I hope you can understand." Lin Xian said, "Understand? My relationship with Elder Xia is extraordinary. Elder Xia is like an elder to me. He has helped me countless times. Now, it's time for me to repay his kindness. Elder Xia wants to become a great emperor. Since he is also a member of the Xia family, you should express your gratitude. Help Elder Xia become a great emperor, and I can spare your lives." "What?" The two patriarchs were stunned. Lin Xian frowned. "What? You don't want to? Don't we need Elder Xia to open the Jiuyou land?" As soon as he said this, the two patriarchs' faces changed drastically. Does he even know such a secret? The previous generation's patriarch sighed. "Young master, you have been in the universe. You should be able to feel it. The suppression of the heavenly Tao and the shackles of the great Tao have fallen. At this time, no one can become a great emperor. If you can't, I will kill you." Lin Xian's voice was cold. The previous generation's patriarch was about to vomit blood. The black-haired patriarch next to him also said, "We are not the only ones who want to open the Jiuyou land. Let me tell you the truth. The people of the other world, Heavenly Tao, have also come. Besides, we have already agreed to cooperate with them. Xia Jiuyou can become a great emperor, but he must join the other world, Heavenly Tao. Young master, are you willing?" Hearing this, Xia Jiuyou snorted coldly. "I won't agree." Lin Xian didn't say anything, but he slashed out with his sword. The biting cold sword Qi slashed at the black-haired patriarch and sent him flying. The black-haired patriarch's body was split open. He spat out a mouthful of blood. "How dare you sneak attack me?" he roared crazily. Lin Xian snorted coldly. This is my answer. The otherworld, heavenly Tao, and I are irreconcilable. If you join the otherworld, heavenly Tao, you will be my enemy. I will not show any mercy to my enemies. You are courting death. Do you really think we are afraid of you? The black-haired patriarch roared. The aura of the Juyo gathered and healed his injuries. However, his injuries were recovering very slowly. He said to the previous generation's patriarch, let's attack together. He is too young and may not be able to exert the true power of the great dragon sword. The previous generation's patriarch nodded, and the two of them attacked like lightning. Lin Xian snorted coldly. You are courting death. He opened the sword world and gave the power inside to the great dragon sword soul. The great dragon sword made a super powerful attack. Boom! The black-haired patriarch was sent flying again. His body was split in half. He was extremely miserable and seriously injured. The previous generation's patriarch also gasped. The other party is too strong. This sword strike seems to be the peak sword strike. The Xia family can exist, but you are no longer the master. After killing you, Elder Xia can become the new master. Lin Xian walked over with the dragon sword in his hand. His expression was extremely cold. At this moment, he seemed to have turned into a peerless sword god. Chapter 6016. The horror of the great dragon sword was beyond the imagination of the Xia family. For a moment, they were in despair. The two ancestors also roared, "Damn it! How dare you look down on us?" Attack. The two of them joined forces and rushed over quickly. At the same time, the previous clan leader roared and activated the clan's formation. Everyone, attack. A great battle broke out in an instant. Lin Xian and the two great emperors fought together. Xia Jiao also attacked the elders in the distance. Even the souls of the 9 serenities fought against the Xia family's formation. Rumbling sounds could be heard as a world-shaking battle swept out in all directions. One had to admit that the Xia family was very terrifying. They occupied the entire 16th level of hell. One could imagine how powerful they were. Therefore, this battle was very difficult. While they were fighting, they didn't know that a battle was also happening in the 9 serenities. The 9 serenities was a very mysterious place in the 9 heavens and 10 earths. However, there were originally some people living in the 9 serenities. For example, the Xia family was in the 9 serenities. The one on the 16th level of hell was just a branch of the Xia family. The Xia family in the 9 serenities was the real main family. At this moment, in a dark ancient city in the 9 serenities, there was a palace. Inside the palace sat 9 people. These 9 people were all wearing black robes and had ice-cold expressions on their faces. Their auras were very terrifying. They were much stronger than the people in hell. The 9 of them sat together. One of them said, "That woman, haven't you found her yet? Where did she go? Damn it, how dare she go against the Xia family? She will definitely die. How did she get in? The 9 serenities hasn't been opened yet. How did she get in? The 9 serenities sword must not fall into the hands of others. It must be controlled by the Xia family. Go and find her again. Send more people. Anyway, she can forget about getting out of the 9 serenities. This time, I must catch her and ask her how she got in. In the 9 serenities, the members of the Xia family were stunned because they had discovered an outsider. This outsider was the most recent one to come in, but it shouldn't be. If they wanted to open the 9th serenity, they needed to inform the Xia clan's branch outside. Only with the cooperation of the 9 underworld's body could it be opened. Now, they hadn't even made a move yet, but someone had already entered. This was truly inconceivable. Wong. Suddenly, the black-robed leader's expression changed. He waved his hand, and a black bell appeared in his hand. At this moment, a violent sound rang out. The others also had grave expressions on their faces. Someone said, "The bell keeps ringing. It looks like the Nine Nether Sword has been born." Moreover, it was very likely that the Nine Nether Sword would recognize him as its master. Damn it. Was it that woman? Damn it, move out quickly. The 9 of them stopped discussing and left the hall one after another. They split up and flew in 9 different directions. At the same time, they mobilized a group of experts to follow them. A few days later, a great battle broke out in a valley in the 9th Serenity. A group of black-clothed men surrounded a white-clothed woman. This woman had an extremely beautiful appearance. Her clothes were whiter than snow, and the aura coming from her body was also incomparably cold. With a wave of her hand, countless ice was brought up, and it was enough to freeze the world. The surrounding black-clothed men's bodies were constantly bursting with frost. Some of them turned into ice sculptures, while others were pierced by ice cones. The speed of the others also slowed down. However, these black-clothed men were also extraordinary. The power on their bodies seemed to come from the 9th Serenity Hell. Every move was extremely cold. Found him. In the sky, a figure descended. Then another figure descended. 2 great emperor-level figures. The other black-clothed men sneered. "You're dead this time." The woman in snow-white clothes had a cold expression. She exerted the law of ice on her body to the extreme. Freeze! With a delicate shout, the entire sky was frozen. The 2 people from the 9 underworlds were great emperor level. One of them waved his fist, and it turned into 9 black holes. It seemed to be connected to the endless hell. From inside, cold disgust flew out. It swept across the ice that filled the sky. When the ice was touched, it shook violently. Then the other person formed a seal with his palm and threw out a black coat, which pierced through the ice. Great! The other black-clothed men, who were still alive, were overjoyed when they saw this scene. The expression of the woman in snow-white clothes changed. In the next moment, she formed a seal with her palm, and a layer of ice surrounded her body. At the same time, the ice sword of the armed police fell from the sky, piercing through heaven and earth, and attacked the 2 great emperors. A great battle broke out. In an instant, a pitch-black long sword appeared in the woman's hand. With a slash of the sword, it seemed to split the sky. With a clang, one of the great emperors was knocked back. Damn it, that's the 9 underworld sword. She actually caught the 9 underworld sword. The eyes of the Xia family members turned red as they stared at the pitch-black long sword. The woman in snow-white clothes held the black long sword in her hand, and the sword light soared into the sky. A terrifying aura swept across the world, and the surrounding mountains and earth trembled violently. The black-clothed men couldn't help but want to kneel down. The 9 underworld sword. It was an extremely terrifying immortal sword in their 9 underworlds realm. For countless years, the Xia family had been trying to get it, but they had never succeeded. They didn't expect that this woman would get it. The 9 underworld sword has always been mysterious. Even the Xia family couldn't find it. Now that we have found it, it can be said that the heavens are on our side. So what if she got it? Snatch it and kill her. The 2 of them attacked wildly. The 2 great monarchs also took out their extreme weapons and attacked wildly. There were also other black-clothed men who gathered in the distance, forming a formation. Mystic ice sword technique. The black long sword was covered with ice. This was an extremely terrifying mystic ice. Once frozen, one would die instantly. This sword slashed at the great emperor. Even the great emperor didn't dare to be careless. He waved the long saber in his hand with all his strength to block. However, at this moment, another great emperor rushed over. He attacked from behind with a mirror in his hand. Go to hell! There was a ferocious ghost head on the mirror, and it attacked the woman in white from behind. That's great. When the others saw this scene, they all laughed. The woman was dead for sure. The great emperor in front of her kept swinging his long saber, not giving the woman a chance to escape. At this critical moment, the woman in white slapped her left hand behind her. In the center of her palm, an endless amount of ice shone brightly. It was white ice, and it contained a mysterious power. Heart-devouring palm. This palm slapped at the great emperor behind her. With a clang, the woman in white was forced back. The great emperor's body also shook. He said, "It's useless. No matter how strong you are, you can't fight against two great emperors." Just as he finished speaking, his expression changed. That was because he felt that his internal organs were rotting in an instant. He suffered internal injuries and spat out a mouthful of blood. His body shook. "You can hurt me. There's a problem with your bloodline. Could it be that your body is—" He was too shocked. The woman in white also spat out a mouthful of blood, but soon she rushed over. Her left hand slapped out again. This time, it wasn't a palm, but a claw. The world seemed to darken. There was a terrifying black claw. It tore open the sky. It fell mercilessly. Chapter 60:17. The black claw was extremely terrifying, and it hit the great emperor behind it. Blood splattered everywhere. 5 cracks appeared on his body, and even his bones were broken. He made a pitiful sound. When the other great emperor saw this, he didn't act rashly. Instead, he was shocked. "How is this possible? You're so young, but you're able to fight against 2 great emperors. You even have the upper hand. Who exactly are you?" The injured great emperor started to shiver, and his whole body turned blue. Evidently, he had been enveloped by ice. This caused him to be even more astonished. He was from the Xia family, and he lived in the 9 underworlds all year round. There was no cold aura that could scare him. However, his opponent's ice made him feel terrified and desperate. Under such circumstances, only the 9 underworlds body of the same level could be given to him. However, only the Xia family had the 9 underworlds body. His opponent definitely didn't have it. Wait, the War Saber Great Emperor's expression changed. No, other than the 9 underworlds body of the Xia family, there is another body. In the outside world, there was another type of physique that was said to be extremely terrifying. The 9 divine body. You have the 9 divine body. Moreover, you have the 9 divine body of the great emperor level. The 2 great emperors of the Xia family were stunned. "You're from the outside world. How did you come in?" They roared crazily. This woman in snow-white clothes was none other than Xueqi. They didn't know what she had experienced, but she had come to the 9 underworlds. Moreover, her cultivation had reached the great emperor level. Xueqi snorted coldly. "Your Xia family is really annoying. You've been chasing me for so long. Do you really think that I won't fight back? Today, it's time to teach you a lesson." Xueqi activated the 9 divine body to the extreme. A mysterious fire flickered on her body. This was her 9 divine fire. At this moment, the 9 divine body resonated with the 9 underworlds. This caused the 9 underworlds sword to shake violently. Not good. She can actually control the 9 underworld sword. The 2 great emperors of the Xia family were shocked. This wasn't good news for them. The 9 underworld sword was a very mysterious sword in the 9 underworlds. The Xia family had wanted it before, but they couldn't get it. In fact, he couldn't even find it if he wanted to. Legend had it that the 9 nether sword possessed an extremely terrifying power. It was much stronger than ordinary extreme Dao weapons. There was also a legend that the 9 nether sword had other uses besides being powerful. However, they did not know whether those legends were true or not. However, they knew that they were in a lot of trouble right now. The 9 nether sword emitted a terrifying light. Then it slashed down. retreat quickly. The two martial monarchs did not dare to take the attack head-on. The 9 underworld's energy in their bodies continued to revolve as they waited for an opportunity to strike. However, after fighting for half a day, they discovered that they were actually unable to do anything to their opponents. This woman had already become a martial monarch, and her battle prowess was no weaker than theirs. On top of that, he had the 9 divine body and the 9 nether sword. They seemed to be unable to do anything. Hurry up and retreat. Gather the Xia clan and send someone even stronger to kill her. The 2 martial monarchs flew into the distance. You want to leave? Xueqi snorted coldly and quickly chased after him. The pursuit began in an instant. This time, the chase lasted for 5 days. The 2 great emperors had gone mad. Get lost. They were prepared to risk their lives and attack to stop their opponents. Then, they would look for an opportunity to escape using a secret technique. Xueqi's face turned cold when she sensed this aura. She said, 9 nether sword, let me see your true strength. She gave all the divine fire in her body to the black long sword. The 9 nether sword kept swaying. Then it became bigger. It transformed into a heaven-reaching divine sword that pierced forward. Boom! An earth-shattering sound rang out as a huge black hole was blasted out. There was an endless space inside, and storms were gathering. The 2 martial monarchs were stunned. What's going on? Has the 9 underworlds been pierced through? On the 16th level of hell, the battle in the Xia clan was also very terrifying. However, the Xia clan was in a miserable state. Lin Xian's strength was beyond their imagination. He fought against 2 martial monarchs by himself. He actually had the upper hand. After fighting for a few days, they discovered that he had too many treasures on him. A golden bracelet sent a martial monarch flying. Then he took out a long sword. The killing intent on it was too terrifying. Together with the great dragon sword soul, its power was extremely strong. Not long after, the black-haired martial monarch was split open again. The previous patriarch's arm was also grabbed by Lin Xian. Then he was torn into pieces. Damn it, his opponent was only the 10-crown king. Was he already so terrifying? If he wanted to become a martial monarch, how terrifying would he be? Could he kill them in an instant? The 2 martial monarchs went crazy. They had the absolute suppression of their realms. They had the true immortal qi. However, they couldn't defeat their opponent. They hadn't felt this sullen for tens of thousands of years. Everything was over. Lin Xian merged the great dragon sword and the immortal slaying sword. Then he opened the sword world. The aura on his body kept exploding. He wanted to kill a martial monarch. His gaze wandered between the previous patriarch and the black-haired martial monarch. The 2 martial monarchs were horrified. Damn it, they retreated frantically. However, where could they run to? Go to the 17th level of hell. There might be people from the otherworld, Heavenly King, and the Supreme Palace. Let them save us. The 2 martial monarchs of the Xia family wanted to escape. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He raised his sword high and was about to swing it down. However, at this moment, there was a boom. The sky collapsed, and the earth cracked. The countless palaces and pavilions of the Xia family were destroyed. Those who were weaker all turned into a bloody mist in an instant. Even the top elders coughed up mouthfuls of blood. They were all sprawled on the ground. Damn it, what happened? The 2 martial monarchs were also stunned. They looked up at the sky. The sky of the 16th level of hell seemed to have been pierced through. Endless black holes filled the space. Cracks were everywhere. Storms swept through the space. It was a scene of destruction. Even Lin Xian was stunned. His sword stopped. He didn't slash out. However, there was a light that pierced through everything. Was someone coming? Was it a friend or a foe? Could it be the otherworld heavenly king and the supreme palace? What a terrifying power. I can feel the aura of a martial monarch. It's the otherworld heavenly king. Tao friend, save us quickly. The black-haired ancestor kept roaring. 2 figures fell out of the huge black hole in the sky. The blood on their bodies fell. It pierced through the sky and earth. This was the blood of a martial monarch. It was really the blood of a martial monarch. It seemed that they were injured because the blood of a martial monarch kept falling. The Xia family was in ruins. If not for their extreme weapons protecting them, they would have died. Other than the 2 martial monarchs, the rest of the Xia family would have fallen. Even so, their situation wasn't good. This unknown made even Xia Zhiyo frown. The 9 Nether Soul was even more terrified. He said, I can feel an even more terrifying bloodline in the blood of a martial monarch. They were also from the Xia family. That was right. The black-haired ancestor and the previous clan leader trembled. Although this bloodline belonged to a martial monarch, it was stronger than them. They were already the strongest people in the 16th level of hell. Only the 9 Netherland had people stronger than them. Could it be that they came from the 9 Netherland? Chapter 60:18. With a loud boom, the ground of the Xia family cracked open, forming a terrifying fissure. 2 figures fell on the ground and let out miserable and terrified cries. Lin Xian frowned and stared at them. The aura of these 2 people was very similar to the aura of the Xia family. Xia Zhiyo and the 9 Nether Souls were stunned. The former patriarch exclaimed, Who are you? He couldn't believe that these people were really from the 9 Netherlands. Why were they so miserable? The 2 great emperors also roared, Damn it, where did that woman beat us? There's no aura of the 9 Netherlands here. Where is this place? Have we left? They gritted their teeth and stared at the black hole above them. At the same time, a figure appeared in the black hole above them. It was a white-clothed woman. She had an exceptionally beautiful appearance and an unsurpassed magnificence. There was actually someone in the black hole above them. The former patriarch and the others were stunned. The members of the Xia family looked up at the sky. Is this the woman who injured the 2 great emperors? Her aura is so terrifying. The 9 Nether Souls were terrified. Even Xia Zhiyo's expression was grave. However, when Lin Xian looked over, he was dumbfounded. I know this woman. Isn't she Xue Qi? She's my woman. Why is she here? Qi, is that you? Lin Xian shouted. In the black hole in the sky, the beautiful woman in white looked cold. However, when she heard the voice, she turned her head and looked over. When she saw Lin Xian, a beautiful smile appeared on her face. It was as if a 10,000-year-old iceberg had melted. Husband, you're here too. Xue Qi was very surprised. What? These 2 are husband and wife. The members of the Xia family were stunned when they heard this. This couple is too fierce. At this moment, the members of the Xia family felt like they were in a dream. The 2 injured great emperors stared at Lin Xian. Catch him. They thought that if they caught Lin Xian, they would be able to negotiate with Xue Qi. The 2 of them rushed toward Lin Xian quickly. Get out of here. Lin Xian sent the 2 flying with a punch and a sword. The 2 emperors were already severely injured to begin with. At this moment, they were sent flying. Their bodies were pierced through, and they coughed out blood continuously. Damn it, how is this possible? This person was actually so strong. That's impossible. I can sense that he's clearly not a great emperor. Both great emperors are mad. Now, they also discovered that they had been beaten out of the 9 serenities and arrived outside. Were the people outside that terrifying? That was impossible. Didn't they say that the people outside were all trash and ants? This was different from what they knew. Husband, be careful. The 2 of them are from the 9 serenities. After hearing this, Lin Xian was also stunned. The ninth serenity? That's impossible. The ninth underworld hasn't been opened yet. How did they get out? Could it be that you're also in the ninth underworld? Chi nodded, but she didn't walk out of the black hole. She said, Husband, I'm indeed in the 9 serenities now. I can't go back yet. I have to wait for a while. Why don't you come in? What? Go in? Lin Xian was dumbfounded. You can go in like this? Under normal circumstances, you can't. However, I have the 9 serenities sword now. You can come in before this black hole disappears. After hearing this, Lin Xian was surprised and overjoyed. Even Xia Jia was dumbfounded. However, the people of the Xia family were shocked, especially the black-haired patriarch and the former patriarch. Both of them were great emperors, so they naturally knew some legends about the 9 serenities. One of the legends was about the 9 nether sword. It was a mysterious sword that possessed a mysterious power. The Xia family had been searching for it, but they didn't find it at all. They didn't expect that this mysterious woman would get it. Lin Xian said to Xia Jiyo, Let's go to the 9 serenities. Xia Jiyo also nodded. The 9 serenities was a place he yearned for. He couldn't become a great emperor in the universe anymore. However, things were different in the 9 netherlands. It was one of the 9 heavens and 10 lands. The shackles of the heavenly Tao on the other side had little influence on him. He could become a great emperor in the 9 serenities. Therefore, they soared into the sky. Lin Xian, Xia Jiyo, and Xia Xingchen quickly rushed to the 9 heavens with Xia Jiyo. Quick, stop them. The 2 great emperors who fell out roared. The former patriarch and the black-haired patriarch also soared into the sky. They blocked Lin Xian and rushed to the black hole. They also wanted to go in. After all, no matter how strong they were here, they were just a branch. They wanted to enter the main house and get stronger. Only in the 9 serenities could great emperors continue to advance. Get lost. Lin Xian and Xia Jiyo blocked the other party. At the same time, Qi also attacked from the black hole. A black divine claw fell from the sky and sent a great emperor flying. Lin Xian was surprised. You're already a great emperor? He could feel the real divine fire beating. Qi said, Yes, husband. I'm very powerful now. He didn't expect Qi to have such a fortuitous encounter and become a great emperor. Young master, take me with you. Below, the 9 underworlds' soul also rushed over. He was also eager to enter the 9 underworlds. Lin Xian thought for a moment and said, All right. After all, he had enough power to control the other party. Therefore, he grabbed the other party and brought him into the black hole. The other 4 great emperors rushed over, but they were blocked by Lin Xian and Qi. Qi said, The black hole will disappear soon, and they won't be able to enter. Damn it. The 4 great emperors' eyes turned red. The 2 great emperors were originally from the 9 serenities. If they couldn't go back in this lifetime, then they would be in big trouble. The black-haired patriarch and the former patriarch went crazy. They wanted to enter the 9 serenities. This battle was extremely terrifying. However, Lin Xian and Qi were too strong. In the end, Lin Xian and Qi fused the 9E9 Yang 9E9 Yang 9 Lin Xian's attack. It seemed to have pierced through the sky and sent the 4 great emperors flying. They were all seriously injured. Damn it, that kid has the 9 Yang body. That woman has the 9E divine body. The 9E9 Yang bodies appeared at the same time. Moreover, they were husband and wife. The 4 great emperors went crazy. It was said that the 9E9 Yang bodies were extremely terrifying. Once they joined forces, they could sweep the world. Although they had more people, they couldn't defeat them. In the end, they could only watch as the black hole in the sky disappeared. No, the 2 great emperors of the 9 serenities screamed crazily. Could they not go back? The people of the Xia family were in despair. Whoosh. On the other side, the black hole disappeared. Lin Xian and the others arrived at the mountain range. They looked around curiously. This was the 9 Serenities. Xia Xingchen blinked her big cute eyes. Xia Jiyo was also shocked. He said, "I can feel my blood boiling." Lin Xian nodded. Indeed, the 9 Serenities was one of the 9 heavens and 10 earths, the high heaven land and the ancient land in his body. Their auras were different. However, they were both ancient and mysterious. Lin Xian smiled. He could obtain power and continue to improve in this place. On top of that, Xia Jiyo could achieve the martial monarch realm here. Let's leave this place first. Lin Xian waved his hand, and the others left, the 9 Serenities. There was an ancient black city. It was the ancestral home of the Xia family. At this moment, there was an extremely terrifying great emperor elder. He frowned. Why did I sense it? The auras of the 2 great emperors disappeared. Chapter 6019. The Xia family of 9 underworlds was very confused. How could 2 great emperors disappear into thin air? What a strange thing. They sent people to investigate. What was going on? The 9 underworlds was very mysterious. It had been in a sealed state for nearly 1,000,000 years. People from the outside couldn't enter at all. So very little news about it spread. This made it even more mysterious. There were all kinds of legends about the 9 underworlds, but at this moment, a piece of news came from hell. Someone came out of the 9 underworlds. This news spread throughout the 18th level of hell. Even the Nirvana realm and the Supreme Palace knew about it. They flew back from the 17th level of hell. What was going on? They asked around and came to the 16th level of hell, to the Xia family. Where was the Xia family's patriarch? He came out. A peerless expert came from the Nirvana realm. The Xia family also came out and welcomed the people from the Nirvana realm. Not long after, the people from the Supreme Palace also came. Both sides gathered together. When they learned about the situation, they were stunned. Someone opened the 9 underworlds. 2 people came out of the 9 underworlds. This was impossible. Great Emperor Baiyu shook his head and said, "The conditions to open the 9 underworlds were very strict. The childless heavenly steel hadn't been gathered yet. It wasn't time yet. How could it be opened?" The Netherworld sovereign also came from the Paragon Palace. He also said that he wasn't lying to them. The 2 great emperors from the Xia family had cold expressions. They said with gritted teeth, "To be honest, the 2 of us still don't believe it. But we did come from the 9 underworlds. As for how the 9 underworlds' power was opened, it was a woman who entered the 9 underworlds from the outside world. She had the most mysterious 9 underworld sword in the 9 underworlds. Legend had it that the 9 underworld sword had an ability to open the 9 underworlds. It was equivalent to a key. She slashed open the void with her sword, and the 2 of us fell out. How could such a thing happen? The others were shocked after hearing it. The legendary 9 underworlds sword. How magical! Can you still go back? Great Emperor Baiyu asked. The 2 great emperors snorted. They couldn't go back for now. They could only use normal methods to open it. However, the previous patriarch said that it would be difficult to open the 9 underworlds. Besides the wordless heavenly steel, one also needed the 9 underworlds physique. However, the 9 nether body had already entered the broken passageway. He went in. That's right, and that 9 yang divine body. He also disappeared. Now, unless he waited for them to come out, it would be very difficult to open the 9 netherland. What? There was actually such a thing? When they heard these words, Great Emperor Baiyu and the others were stunned. 9 yang divine body. Was it that Lin Wudi? Lin Wudi had entered the 9 serenities. This was not good news. However, they had no other choice. They could only wait here. Some of them were in hell. guarding it. The other great emperors quickly returned to their posts. At the other side, Xiajiu, Lin Xian, and the others also sighed with emotion after entering the Nine Netherland. This was the magic of the Nine Netherland. Lin Xian was very curious. He asked Qi, what have you been through all these years? How did you get in? Xiajiu was also very confused. Qi said, to be honest, I don't know how I came in here, but I activated something. It was something left behind by the previous Nine in Divine Body. Husband, didn't I tell you before? There are relics left behind by the previous Nine in Divine Body in hell. After I entered and obtained the treasury, I was teleported here. There are many resources in the relics, as well as the insights of the previous Nine in Divine Body. I used these to break through in the Nine Netherland and became a great emperor. After that, I went to look for the Nine Nether Sword. Because the Nine Nether Sword has a function, it can open the Nine Netherland. That was why the scene from before had occurred. The few of them were shocked. Although Qi made it sound simple, they knew that the process was probably extremely difficult. At the same time, Lin Xian was also surprised. The Nine Nether Sword had such a function. It was really magical. Oh, right. There shouldn't be any restrictions on becoming a great emperor here. Right? This time, old Xia is also going to become a great emperor. Qi said, no, the Nine Netherland was one of the 9 heavens and 10 earths. The laws of heaven and earth here were not the same as the outside universe. Therefore, many people could break through to the great emperor realm here. That's great. Xiajiu heard his words and heaved a sigh of relief. There were shackles of the heavenly Tao outside, so he could prove his Tao here. At this time, Qi said that although there was no suppression from the heavenly Tao, proving one's Tao was an extremely difficult thing. This fact would not change even in the Nine Netherland. Therefore, it was also very difficult to prove one's Tao here. It could be said that there was a chasm between heaven and earth that blocked most people. However, with old Xia's strength, it shouldn't be a problem. After she finished speaking, she looked at Lin Xian and said, husband, it's best that you don't prove your Tao in the Nine Netherland. You need to go to the outside universe and prove your Tao. Why? Lin Xian was surprised. He said that the heavenly Tao's suppression in the outside universe was very strong, and he was afraid that no one would be able to prove their Tao here. After the descent of the deity ground, the first person to prove his Tao and become a great emperor in the universe had a special meaning. Therefore, all parties were fighting for this opportunity. Husband, you have the strength, so you must not miss this opportunity. The suppression of the heavenly Tao this time should be because the people of the Nirvana realm took action. They were afraid that this opportunity would be snatched away by others. Why? Lin Xian was surprised. Xiajiu and the others didn't understand either. Qi said, when I got the treasury of the previous generation's 9 nether, I saw a message left by him. It seemed that the first person to prove his Tao after the descent of the deity ground was qualified to go to the place of destiny. The place of destiny? Lin Xian was shocked when he heard this. Could it be one of the 9 heavens and 10 earths? Qi nodded. Yes, it was said that it was a place that could defy the heavens and change one's fate. Therefore, all parties wanted to increase this opportunity. Defy the heavens and change one's fate. Lin Xian was surprised when he heard this. Although he didn't know what it was used for, he definitely wouldn't let the Nirvana realm take this opportunity. He said, okay, then I'll be the first person to prove my Tao in the universe. Since Qi was going to prove her Tao in the 9 Netherland, she didn't take up the space of the universe. Xiajiu wouldn't be able to prove his Tao in the universe. So Lin Xian still had a big chance. Let's go and find a place to let old Xia break through and prove his Tao here. Lin Xian had 2 goals in coming to the 9 Netherland. The first was to let Xiajiu prove his Tao and become a great emperor. The second was to increase his strength. He also wanted to prove his Tao in the universe as soon as possible. Let's fly ahead. I'm not too familiar with this place. The Nine Netherland is very big, and I've only been to some places. Xue Qi led the way, and the group soared into the sky. A few days later, a black desert appeared in front of them. Everyone felt that a huge pressure was pressing down on them from the sky. Even great emperors couldn't continue flying. Xia Jiuyo exclaimed, "Flying is forbidden here. We can only walk on the ground." Chapter 60:20. The group landed on the ground. The black desert was extremely cold. Those who were weak would probably die instantly if they stood on it. Fortunately, the group was very strong. Even though Xia Xingchen was a little weak, she was safe and sound with the protection of the group. There was a crack. At this time, Xia Xingchen exclaimed, "What's that?" He kicked the sand into the desert. The black sand was kicked away, and a piece of bone floated out from the sand. Then many bones quickly condensed in the surrounding sand. Then they condensed into a skeleton. The land of Nine Serenities was already extremely terrifying. He was still in hell, but hell was already full of undead creatures, not to mention the land of Nine Serenities. This was the world of souls. Therefore, it was normal to see skeletons. They would probably encounter all kinds of souls and remnant souls later. This skeleton turned out to be a snake. After it reassembled its body, it stared at Xia Xingchen, emitting a cold aura. Xia Xingchen was startled. Lin Xian snorted coldly, "Get down." He took a step forward, and a dragon's roar came from his body. The skeleton snake was startled. Its hair stood on end, and all the bones in its body stood up like sharp swords, staring at Lin Xian. Then the skeleton tail slapped fiercely, but it was sent flying by Lin Xian's punch. The next punch shattered the sky full of skeletons. Lin Xian said, "You? How dare you attack me?" The skeleton snake was shocked. What a terrifying power. Why do I feel that this person has the power of a great emperor? It gritted its teeth and said, "Stop, you can't attack anymore. The zombie emperor is sleeping in front of us. If you enter, you will be challenging the zombie emperor." "Is that so? So, what if I challenge him?" Lin Xian walked forward, and the skeleton snake retreated in horror. However, he stopped when he retreated to a place where the sand formed a whirlpool. Then, a terrifying breathing sound came from below. With each breath, the sky fell and the earth cracked. The aura of an emperor spread out. "Husband, be careful. I feel an unusual aura." Xue Qi frowned tightly. Xia Jiuyo and the others were also on guard. "Kid, did you see that? The corpse emperor's strength isn't something you can challenge. Leave quickly." The white-boned giant python said coldly. Lin Xian said, "I'd like to see what it is." With a palm strike, he tore the ground into two halves. An underground palace appeared. "Damn it, you dare to go to the back." However, he couldn't stop it at all. He was even sent flying by Lin Xian's slap. When Lin Xian looked down, his figure flashed, and he jumped down. The others followed suit. They entered the underground palace. The giant python also came down and coiled on the ground. He shouted angrily, "We can't go any further." Lin Xian looked around and found that the entire underground palace was desolate and ancient with the aura of time. In the underground palace, there was only one thing, and that was a person. That figure was tied to a stone pillar. His body was already extremely withered, just like human skin. However, he wasn't dead. Everyone could clearly feel that he was breathing and sleeping. However, there were chains running through his body, trapping him here forever. After Lin Xian saw this, he sneered coldly. "I was wondering what it was." It turned out that it was a person who had been imprisoned. Buzz, as if he had heard Lin Xian's mockery. The figure tied to the stone pillar suddenly opened his eyes. There were two flames dancing in his eyes, and a terrifying aura swept out. Not good, Xia Jiu cried out in alarm. Jiu's soul was so scared that he prostrated himself on the ground. Xueqi shot out a layer of ice to block his attack. However, cracks appeared on that layer of ice. Even Lin Xian was surprised to see that Yi Fuqian possessed two divine fires. It was so terrifying. He had surpassed ordinary great emperors. Ordinary great emperors only had one divine flame, or immortal energy. Two of them would be extremely terrifying. This person had actually managed to cultivate two das. Furthermore, he was actually trapped here and suppressed for all eternity. Who had done this? The person who had done this must be even more terrifying. The withered figure stared at Lin Xian and said coldly, "Kid, 10-crown king, how dare you be so arrogant in front of me?" Lin Xian laughed. "You've been suppressed. How dare you be arrogant in front of me? Do you want to die?" The withered figure roared angrily and activated his divine flames. A majestic power swept across the land. Not good. Xia Jiu and the others hurriedly defended themselves and used all of their bloodlines. Xueqi also shot out her 9 mysterious ice. Lin Xian waved his hand. It was like a divine sword that split the land. He said coldly, "You're strong, but you've been suppressed. This isn't your time." How arrogant! The withered figure was surprised. I didn't expect to meet such an arrogant person like Lin Xian. However, when he saw Xia Jiu and the others behind Lin Xian, his expression changed drastically. "You're from the Xia family." Damn it! His body shook, and a majestic power erupted again. The 9 heavens and 10 lands were shattering. The entire desert was raging, as if it was about to be destroyed. "Not good," Xueqi said. "Husband, let's retreat." Lin Xian also frowned. He said, "You know the Xia family? Not only do you know them, but they're the reason why I'm like this. They plotted against me." The withered man roared crazily. "It's been tens of thousands of years. I didn't expect to meet the Xia family again. I'll catch you and make you wish you were dead." He made a ferocious sound. Xia Xingchen was scared, and her face turned pale. Lin Xian snorted coldly, "I don't care what kind of grudge you have with the Xia family, but you can't touch them. They're from the outer universe, and they have nothing to do with what happened back then." "What? The outer universe?" the white-boned python exclaimed. The withered figure was also stunned. "What? Has the 9 serenities opened again?" "Impossible. I didn't feel many great emperors coming." "You're lying to me." Lin Xian snorted coldly. "Who's lying to you? Sense it. Do you feel the aura of the 9 serenities on me?" Lin Xian performed the 9 suns' divine body. Like a sun god, he shone in all directions and seemed to melt the cold aura around him. The python's body trembled, and it crawled on the ground. This power was its natural nemesis. The withered figure was also shocked. The power of the purest yang does not belong to the 9 serenities, because you can't cultivate this kind of power here. You're really from the outer universe. Lin Xian nodded and said, "That's right. Besides, our enemy is also the Xia family. Maybe we can cooperate." "Kid, are you lying to me? Is there an internal strife in the Xia family?" the withered figure said. Lin Xian said, "It's a long story, but it's up to you to believe it or not." "Okay, I believe you." "Well, tell me, how did you get tricked by the next families?" After Lin Xian sat down, he waved his hand and took out a lot of exquisite food and wine from the sword world. He sat on the ground, and everyone enjoyed it. The white-boned python was dumbfounded. Who would dare to be so arrogant in front of its master? Do you think you're on vacation? After all, its master possessed 2 divine flames. Humph! Tens of thousands of years ago, I cooperated with the 2 ancestors of the Xia family. Together, we explored a new ancient city. In the end, I was ambushed and seriously injured by them inside. The treasures were also snatched away by them. They tied me up here, making it impossible for me to escape. They even killed and tortured me. In the end, I was killed by them. However, I was unwilling to give up. With the help of the power of heaven and earth, I came back to life. I'm now a corpse emperor, using corpses to cultivate. If one day I can escape, I won't forgive those two old thieves. Chapter 60:21. Lin Xian frowned when he heard this. Was the Xia family so despicable? He said, "Can you tell me how strong the Xia family is? Kid, you don't even know how strong the Xia family is, and you dare to make an enemy of them?" The corpse emperor was surprised. Lin Xian said, "No matter how strong they are, can they be stronger than the heavenly king?" The corpse emperor shook his head. Of course, they are not as strong as the heavenly king. However, the Xia family is also very terrifying in the Nine Serenities. The Xia family had always lived in the Nine Serenities and was a super family. There were many geniuses and great emperors in his family. There was even an earth immortal in the Xia family. So powerful. Lin Xian frowned. That's not right. If there was an earth immortal, would you dare to take revenge on the Xia family? He didn't believe it. The strength of an earth immortal far exceeded that of other great emperors. If that earth immortal woke up, I naturally wouldn't dare. However, 1,000,000 years ago, there was a great battle. When the Nine Serenities opened, countless experts and powerhouses of the Nine Serenities went on expeditions to the universe, wanting to conquer other places. They even wanted to conquer the other 9 heavens and 10 lands. However, they failed. In fact, they were severely injured. The Earth Immortal of the Xia family was seriously injured in that great battle. In the end, he only managed to escape with half his life. From then on, he slept in the most ancient place of the Xia family. Until now, he probably hadn't woken up yet. Recover? There was such a thing. Lin Xian was surprised when he heard this. Is the battle 1,000,000 years ago related to the great dragon sword? He asked secretly. The great dragon said, "Yes, it should be that battle. However, I didn't injure him. It should be the celestial slashing sword that injured him." Celestial slashing sword. Lin Xian was surprised. Isn't that the same battle sword as the celestial slaying sword in my hand? It was said that it was the battle sword of a peerless expert who was all-powerful. Now, he only had one of them. From the looks of it, this all-knowing character should be extremely terrifying. Could it be that he was even more terrifying than an Earth Immortal? If I have a way to let you go, what do you plan to do? The corpse emperor was stunned. Really? Then he shook his head. Impossible. Little guy, I can sense that you are only 10 crown king, not even a great emperor. Although this little fairy beside me is a great emperor, she's just a divine fire. She can't save me. As for those from the Xia family, they were even worse off. Thinking of this, the corpse emperor shook his head. Lin Xian said, "Although I'm not a great emperor, my trump cards are not something you can imagine. So, I just want to ask you, what do you plan to do now that I've saved you?" Of course, he was going to find trouble with the Xia family. He was going to turn the world upside down and take revenge for what happened back then. Okay, the corners of Lin Xian's lips curled up. If they were to help Xia Jiuyo achieve a breakthrough, they would definitely attract the attention of the 9 underworlds. If the Xia family were to make a move then, it would be troublesome. Hence, he had to find an enemy for the Xia family. That way, the Xia family would not have the time and energy to pay attention to them. "Yes," he said. "However, before I save you, use your divine flame to swear to the heavenly Tao. You can't threaten us or harm us." "No problem." The corpse emperor hurriedly swore, and everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Then the corpse emperor looked at Lin Xian and said, "Young man, what are your methods? If you dare to lie to me, don't blame me for being impolite," Lin Xian said. "Then watch carefully." He took out the immortal slaying sword and slashed at the chain. With a clang, flames danced. The entire hall began to shake violently. The corpse emperor was stunned because he found that a small gap had appeared on the chain that trapped him. "Oh God, what kind of sword is that in your hand? Why is it so terrifying?" It was indeed useful. Lin Xian was overjoyed. After learning that the immortal slaying sword had once injured an earth immortal, Lin Xian knew that the grade of the immortal slaying sword should be far superior to ordinary extreme weapons. It was at least at the level of an earth immortal. Therefore, Lin Xian now had no problem cutting the chain with the immortal slaying sword. In addition, he also had the power of the great dragon sword soul. Therefore, it only took 10 days for the two to work together. Lin Xian cut the chain. "Hurry up and retreat. I'm going to break the remaining chains." These chains formed an array. If one was broken, the rest would be easy. Therefore, the corpse emperor said coldly, "Let's go." Lin Xian and the others waved their hands and left the underground palace. They came to the desert. The corpse emperor said, "Not enough. Go further." Lin Xian and the others quickly retreated. However, the corpse emperor roared at the sky. His voice was like thunder, and the entire desert cracked. At this moment, there were some creatures near the desert. They were terrified. What happened? There were some bones in the desert. They didn't have time to escape. They were all turned into ashes. The entire desert was pierced through. An endless black hole pierced through heaven and earth. A terrifying phenomenon shone in all directions. At this moment, everyone was shocked. What happened? It was too terrifying. A peerless master had appeared. The 9 serenities was different from the heavens. The heavens was desolate, and there was no one there. The 9 serenities was somewhat similar to the eternal land. There were many people there. However, it was different from the eternal land. In the eternal land, there was only one force, the Nirvana realm. And in the 9 serenities, there should be different families and sections. However, these people hadn't gone out for 1,000,000 years. The sky of the 9 serenities was black. At this moment, billions of stars were collapsing. A long roar sounded. Then the chains in the sky shattered, and the corpse emperor rushed back. He looked up and laughed. "I'm finally out. Ha 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 ha." His laughter was loud and clear, shattering the sky. It couldn't be helped. An emperor with 2 divine fires was too terrifying. In the next moment, he lowered his head and stared at Lin Xian and the others. Xia Juyo and the others felt their hair stand on end. Lin Xian's expression was solemn. He wasn't afraid. He clenched the immortal slaying sword in his hand. He wanted to see what the other party would do. After waiting for a while, the atmosphere was silent. The corpse emperor didn't make a move. Instead, he said, "Kid, just wait. It won't be long before you hear the news of the Xia family's battle." With that, he waved his hand and left the desert with the white bone python. "Thank you for successfully saving my master. This is a treasure I picked up when I was bored. I'll give it to you." In the sky, the voice of the white bone python came. In the next moment, a black box fell from the sky. Lin Xian waved his hand, caught it, and opened it. It was a black stone with an extremely terrifying aura. As soon as the aura approached Lin Xian's 9 yang divine body automatically defended and turned into 9 suns. Obviously, it was as if it was facing a great enemy. This surprised Lin Xian. This thing wasn't simple. However, he couldn't use it. He gave it to Xia Juyo and said, "Elder Xia, take it. You should be able to accept it." After Xia Juyo saw it, he nodded. What a terrifying 9 serenities aura. This should be a 9 serenity stone. Its grade should be very high. Then I'll take it. Xia Juyo, was also accumulating strength to break through to the great emperor realm. Lin Xian said, "Don't worry about the Xia family. Next, let's find a place with good feng shui. You can break through in peace." The group went on their way again. However, a storm was brewing in the Nine Serenities. Many people saw a black light cut through the void, causing the sky to fall and the earth to crack. Below, endless power disappeared. It was all sucked away. The peerless powerhouse attacked. Every place he went, he absorbed the power there and destroyed countless sections. The people of the Nine Serenities were shocked. A great emperor, an extremely terrifying one. What kind of old monster had appeared? Chapter 6022. The desert was huge, and Lin Xian and the others had to walk for several days to get out of it. Xue Qi sighed with emotion. "I'm a divine fire, but I can't fly. That corpse emperor can fly in the sky. It seems that a great emperor with two divine fires is really terrifying." "Yes," Lin Xian nodded. "He's been trapped for so many years, but he's still so powerful. Once he recovers to his peak, the Xia family will have a headache." Even in the nine underworlds, great emperors were supreme existences that stood above everyone else. Their status was almost the same as in the universe. The only difference was that there weren't only great emperors here. In the past few days, Lin Xian had also explored the Black Desert. He found that it wasn't suitable for cultivation. At least, he wasn't satisfied with it. Then, they continued on their way. They saw forests and mountains. Lin Xian also shook his head. No, it's enough for ordinary saints and quasi-emperors. However, it's still not enough for them to become great emperors. They didn't travel fast when they came out of the nine underworlds. So, they often stopped to rest and explore the situation. When they had nothing to do, Lin Xian took Xue Qi to the Sword World to dual cultivate with her. Cultivating with the 9 yin and 9 yang at the same time was very fast. Moreover, Xue Qi was now a great emperor. As a result, Lin Xian's 9 yang divine body became even more terrifying. Lin Xian also felt that his divine fire was pulsating. "It seems that my husband is not far from becoming a great emperor," Xue Qi said with a smile, when she felt the power of the divine fire seed in Lin Xian's body. Lin Xian shook his head. "However, I want to make a breakthrough with both the divine fire and immortal energy." After all, it wasn't easy for him to cultivate these two powers. He didn't want to give up. Moreover, his father, Lord Alcohol, the Demon Emperor, and the Heavenly Court all failed when they fought against the Prometha. Could he succeed this time? He wasn't sure, so he had to do it to the extreme. If he could cultivate both the divine fire and immortal energy at the same time, he might be able to increase his chances of success. However, Xue Qi frowned. It's too dangerous. She had never heard of anyone succeeding. Even those Earth immortals would not dare to do so. Although the two types of power were both powers that surpassed everything, it would be very difficult to fuse them together in a single person. Indeed, Lin Xian also felt it now. Only he had the divine body of the great success stage and the yin-yang image. Only by fusing yin and yang could the divine flame and the immortal qi seed exist in his body at the same time. Otherwise, if it were anyone else, their body would have long collapsed. Right? There's always a way. Lin Xian said, "The seed of divine flame is easy to improve, but the power of immortal qi is a little weak at the moment. So, next, I have to cultivate some immortal energy." This was not difficult. Xue Qi said, "There are many great emperors in the Nine Nether who cultivate immortal energy. Their resources should be suitable for cultivating immortal bodies. Even though you can't absorb the netherworld energy directly, I can help you convert it." This was the benefit of dual cultivation of the 9 yin and 9 yang. Therefore, Lin Xian could also cultivate in the 9 serenities. Of course, if he were alone, it would be much more troublesome. Then the group went on their way again. While looking for the place where Xia Jiu broke through, Lin Xian thought about the future. He had a guess. For example, he could cultivate immortal energy with the Rinnegan as the foundation of his soul. He could cultivate the divine flame with the divine body of the Nine Yang as the foundation of his body. Would this be compatible? Lin Xian didn't know, but he was trying to find a way. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. On this day, Lin Xian and the others were walking on the mountain road. While feeling the netherworld energy around them, they were looking for a suitable place to cultivate. Suddenly, the sound of the void vibrating came from ahead. Someone was running with all his might. Lin Xian and the others stopped. They were very vigilant. Although they had encountered some dangers in the past month, most of them were demonic beasts. This time, they seemed to have sensed a power that was different from that of demonic beasts. Everyone be careful. Lin Xian looked ahead with his Rinnegan as he warned them in a deep voice. As soon as he finished speaking, a figure flew into the range of their souls. It was a young man with black hair and bright eyes. However, his clothes were tattered and several chains were tied to his body. On the other end of the chains was an ancient coffin. The young man was struggling to pull it, but he was very strong. The reason for that was because wherever he passed, the surrounding space would tremble incessantly, and the earth would also surge violently. This was the Nine Nether Realm. If it were the outside universe, the world would probably have been torn apart. The young man's face was covered with sweat as he walked. When he saw Xue Qi, he was overjoyed. "Elder sister, please save me." "Save you?" Xue Qi was taken aback. Lin Xian frowned. This young man was not simple. This was because Xue Qi was the one he had asked for help. This meant that he had detected that Xue Qi's cultivation was the highest. It should be noted that Xue Qi had restrained her divine fire, and the others could not detect it. However, this little guy had detected it in an instant. This was interesting. Lin Xian asked, "Why should I save you? I have treasures." The young man raised his head and said. Lin Xian looked at him and said with a smile, "If I'm not wrong, you don't even have a storage ring. Where did you get treasures?" When the young man heard this, he put down the coffin and said, "It's him. There are treasures in it. I will sell it and exchange it for natural treasures. After that, I will pay you." Right after he said those words, before Lin Xian could say anything, a cold harumph sounded from afar. "You can't run away. When I catch you, I will let you know what regret is." "How dare you run away from me? You don't know life from death." The voice was sharp, and it carried a terrifying immortal energy that shocked Xia Jiu and the others. It was a great emperor who was chasing after them. When the young man heard this, his face turned pale. He said, "Elder sister, come and save me. The great emperor of sword martial arts is very scary. If I am caught by him, I will die." "No, I can't die even if I want to." Xue Qi looked at Lin Xian, asking for Lin Xian's opinion. At this moment, the dragon in Lin Xian's body said, "Check. There is a strange movement in your sword world." Lin Xian was stunned. He probed with his soul spirit and was stunned. In the sword world, a green lamp and a bone suddenly moved. The green lamp was the longevity lamp, and the bone was the bone of a great emperor. This was something of the Yuhua immortal dynasty. It had always been calm. Why did it move today? Could it be that something had caused it to change? Lin Xian looked around. There was a great emperor in the distance. It should be impossible, because he could feel that there was only a wisp of immortal energy. This child shouldn't be able to do it. After thinking about it, Lin Xian stared at the coffin. The power of reincarnation bloomed in his eyes. Then he was surprised. He couldn't see through it. His Rinnegan now had 6 paths and the true power of reincarnation. But he couldn't see it clearly. This coffin was not ordinary. What was inside might be related to the Yuhua immortal dynasty. Therefore, the corners of Lin Xian's mouth rose. He said, I can save you, but this coffin belongs to me. No, this is something I risked my life to bring out. If I give it to you, how can I exchange it for treasures? The young man shook his head. You are the same as the great emperor of sword martial arts. Lin Xian said, It's different. Give me the coffin, and I will save your life. Also, I will give you treasures. What do you want? Just ask. Chapter 60:23. Rumbling sounds could be heard in front of them as a man walked over. This man was extraordinarily mighty. Sword light surrounded his body, and the piercing cold sword qi spread for millions of miles. He was a terrifying sword Dao expert. Xia Juyo and the others were shocked. Even Lin Xian squinted his eyes. Sword qi? It really surprised him. After all, he was also a swordsman. He didn't know whose sword technique would be stronger if they fought. Little guy, you can't run away, the sword martial emperor said coldly after he arrived. He fixed his gaze on the young man. The young man's body trembled, and he came to Xue Qi's side. He said, Sister, save me. The sword martial emperor frowned and looked at Xue Qi and the others. Soon, he fixed his gaze on Xue Qi. The reason for that was because he could sense that only Xue Qi was a true great emperor among those people. The others were all below the great emperor level. In his eyes, those below the great emperor level were all ants. Therefore, he didn't need to pay attention to them. How should I address you, fairy? Which great emperor are you from? The sword martial emperor asked in a deep voice. Xue Qi said, You don't need to know who I am. I'll protect this child. The sword martial emperor frowned slightly after hearing this. However, he didn't want to fight with someone at the same level as him. Therefore, he said, Okay, I'll give you face. I'll spare this young man's life. However, I have to take the sarcophagus back. It belongs to my sect, and he stole it. No. The young man shook his head crazily after hearing this. At the same time, he said, It doesn't belong to you. I got it by chance. How is it possible that it belongs to your sect? You just happened to see it, and wanted to kill me to steal it. The sword martial emperor frowned after hearing this. He ignored the young man. In his eyes, the young man was just an ant. He stared at Xue Qi and said with a smile, Fairy, what do you think? Xue Qi didn't say anything, but Lin Xian walked out. He said, We'll protect the young man and leave the sarcophagus. You can leave now. We'll spare your life. The sword martial emperor was stunned when he heard this. He couldn't believe his ears. Where did he get the confidence to spare his life, saying such things? He stared at the figure in front of him and frowned. It wasn't the great emperor. This young man was not even a great emperor, yet he dared to be so arrogant in front of him. He snorted coldly. And, do you have the right to speak here? His eyes erupted with an extremely cold light that swept across the area. The resplendent light tore through the void. It could easily crush anyone below the martial monarch realm. Lin Xian's sword qi also rushed out from his body. The violent power could destroy the heavens and earth. The two streaks of sword qi collided, causing a violent tremor. Then they disappeared into the void. At the same time, the martial sword emperor was stunned. You can block it? Are you a swordsman too? He was too shocked. The other party wasn't a great emperor, but he possessed the battle prowess of a great emperor. This surprised him. Frowning, he said, May I ask how to address you? Lin Wudi. Lin Xian said indifferently with his hands behind his back. What an arrogant name. Sword martial emperor frowned. However, it was a pity that he had never heard of this name. After all, the 9 Serenities was still sealed at this moment. Most of the news from the outside couldn't enter. Lin Xian said, Go. If we really fight, you won't have any advantage. In fact, he might even lose his life here. Lin Xian's voice wasn't loud, but it shocked everyone. especially the young man, who was also surprised. This big brother dared to threaten a great emperor. It was too unbelievable. His eyes widened. The sword dance emperor also frowned. This young man's strength was not clear. Besides, there was a real great emperor here. Once they fought, he was likely to be at a disadvantage. Forget it, he would leave first. Then he would secretly investigate the identity of this group of people. Was it a fierce dragon crossing the river? After he found out, he would come back. Anyway, in his opinion, the sarcophagus couldn't be open for a while. Okay, I'll give you face. The sword martial emperor turned and left. Before he left, a trace of coldness appeared in his eyes. He quietly left a trace of sword chi under the ground. The sword martial emperor turned into a streak of sword light toward the void and disappeared. He finally left. The 9 serenities soul and the others all breathed a sigh of relief. The young man also said, "Thank you, big brother." Lin Xian waved his hand, asking everyone to be quiet. He lowered his head, and his rinnegan shone. In the next moment, he suddenly tore the ground into pieces. With a boom, a streak of sword chi under the ground tried to escape. However, Lin Xian's palm slapped down hard. There were 9 suns circling on it. It directly enveloped the sword chi. Boom! The 9 suns exploded together, and the earth-shattering power shattered the sword chi. Then he said, "Okay, no one is watching us." In the distance on a mountain peak, the sword martial emperor landed. His expression became gloomy and ugly. The sword chi he had left behind was actually destroyed by someone. Was he discovered? This group of people was indeed not simple. "Let's go." After shattering the sword chi, Lin Xian waved his hand and led the crowd away. Arriving at another location, there was a valley here that they could enter. Lin Xian said, "What do you want?" He waved his hand and took out many treasures, including weapons cultivation techniques, secret manuals, and elixirs. Lin Xian said, "Choose whatever you want. I'll give you 3. He had killed many powerhouses along the way, and even several great emperors had fallen in his hands. Therefore, he had a lot of treasures. It was a peerless treasure trove. As expected, the 9 serenities soul and Xia Xingchen's eyes lit up. However, the young man shook his head. Although he longed for these treasures, he had no choice but to accept them. However, he said, "No, I don't want these things. I want a mountain." A mountain? What did he mean? Lin Xian was stunned. The young man said, "I've taken a fancy to a mountain. I need you to help me take it down and then give it to me. If you can do it, I'll give you the sarcophagus. Otherwise, I'll pay you after I sell the sarcophagus." "Okay, it's just a mountain. I'll give it to you even if it's a mountain range." Lin Xian waved his hand and said generously, "Let me remind you, there are many powerful beings on that mountain." "It's okay," Lin Xian said. "Okay, it's a deal." The young man heaved a sigh of relief. They had made the right choice. Xia Zhiyo said, "What do you like? Take it." "Hee, big brother Lin, I won't stand on ceremony." Xia Xingchen rushed over and began to choose various treasures. "This is good. I'll take it for self-defense. This is good too." In the end, he was covered in weapons. "Let's see who dares to fight with me." Xia Xingchen stood in the void and pointed her sword forward. At this moment, she was covered in treasures. Even a quasi-emperor wouldn't be able to hurt her. "Okay." Lin Xian put away the rest of the treasures and said, "Let's go." The young man led the way, and everyone set off. The 9 serenities soul carried them and flew quickly. Finally, they arrived at a mountain range. This mountain range was extremely dark and eerie. Lin Xian frowned slightly because he could feel that this mountain range was unusual. Xue Qi also said, "I feel that there's something in this mountain range. There seems to be some unknown existence." Chapter 6024. Looking at the mountain range in front of him, Lin Xian snorted coldly. I want to see what kind of demon it is. Then he asked the youth, which mountain do you want? The youth pointed into the distance and said, counting from the south, the 9th mountain. I want that one. Okay, let's go. The group entered the mountain range. After entering, the pressure on their souls increased a lot, and all kinds of remnant souls appeared. One of the remnant souls even sneakily attacked Xia Xingchen. The armor on Xia Xingchen's body shone brightly and sent the remnant soul flying. Xia Jiu snorted coldly. He destroyed the remnant soul with a palm strike. Countless green flames lit up around them. These were the remnant souls floating in the air. Xia Xingchen's small face was pale. There are so many souls here. Xue Qi snorted coldly and took out the 9 nether sword. Then she slashed forward. Immediately, a large number of remnant souls fled. They were terrified because the 9 nether swords seemed to be able to suppress them. Lin Xian also frowned. I feel that the aura here is not ordinary. There is probably a great emperor-level figure behind it. He looked at the youth and said, Are you sure you want this mountain? The youth nodded. Obviously, he was also very nervous. He said, This place is much more terrifying than the last time I came here. It's all because of that damn thing. If I kill it, I can take back the mountain. Then, this place will return to normal. No problem. I will kill it for you, Lin Xian said. In any case, there was what he wanted in the stone coffin, so he might as well help the youth. After getting the stone coffin, he could make the Yuhua immortal dynasty owe him more favors in the future. This would be very useful. Xue Qi waved her 9 nether sword, and the remnant souls around them all retreated. Along the way, they were unimpeded. Finally, they arrived at the 9th mountain. This 9th mountain was very special. Xia Jiu glanced at it and said, The momentum of heaven and earth here is very strange. I feel that there are special earth veins under the ground. Yeah, Lin Xian also nodded. The terrain here was very complicated, and it formed a transcendent force. It was unknown whether it was natural or man-made. If it was formed naturally, then this was indeed a super good place for ghost cultivators. However, if it was done by someone, then that person was truly cruel and terrifying. Let's go and ascend the 9th summit. The crowd headed forward. However, as soon as they set foot on the mountain, countless ghost qi gushed toward them. All kinds of roars rang out, baring their fangs and brandishing their claws. Xue Qi shot out her frigid ice, which sealed the whole world. Lin Xian raised his head and looked into the distance. He shouted coldly, Get out here. The 6 paths of reincarnation emitted a brilliant glow and swept the remnant souls away. Those remnant souls let out miserable cries. The void split open and a figure appeared. It was a young man, but his eyes were empty, as if he was being controlled by something. After he arrived, he said coldly, Are you here to die again? With a wave of his hand, the countless souls in the area immediately rushed toward Zhang Xian. It was as if the entire area had been transformed into the 9 netherworlds. Young master, let me deal with it. The 9 nether soul rushed over. He wanted to prove himself. No matter what, he possessed the strength of an utmost exalted. Thus, as soon as he made his move, his powerful aura swept across the surroundings. Those remnant souls were sent flying. The 9 nether soul charged toward the ancient young man. Be suppressed. His strength was terrifying. The ancient young man kept swaying. He landed on the ground. Then he formed a seal with his palms. Immediately, the ground cracked open, and all kinds of terrifying formations were formed. In the sky, a terrifying storm swept across, erupting with terrifying power. It actually sent the 9 nether soul flying. Damn, what a terrifying formation. His strength is obviously not as good as mine, but he possesses such a strange power. The Nine Nether Soul was greatly surprised. Xiajiu also said, "Be careful. Don't worry, I can do it." The Nine Nether Soul rushed forward again. The two of them fought fiercely, but after 100 moves, the Nine Nether Soul was sent flying again. In fact, he was even crushed by an enormous black hand in the sky. "Young master, save me," he screamed in horror. Lin Xian snorted coldly and punched out with the Nine Suns' divine fist, shattering heaven and earth. Only then did he save the other party. "Young master, I'm so useless." The Nine Nether Soul was very depressed. Lin Xian said, "It's not your fault. He's very strong." Lin Xian furrowed his brows tightly. He could tell that the young man's cultivation was definitely not as strong as the Nine Nether Soul. However, his strength was very strong. The young man had borrowed the power of heaven and earth to form all kinds of formations. Lin Xian had seen this method before. Many formation masters knew how to use it. However, Lin Xian felt that it surpassed ordinary formations. It was a bit like Ruzalong's. "Husband, can I deal with him?" Xueqi said. "With her strength. Even if the young man knew many formations, it would not make a difference." Lin Xian shook his head. "No, I'll do it myself. I've discovered some problems and I want to verify them." "Problems?" Xueqi was surprised. At this moment, Lin Xian walked over. He stretched out his hand, and the Nine Suns' divine flame jumped and flew out. Lin Xian's body was so strong that even great emperors were no match for him. Thus, those spirit formations began to shatter nonstop. However, the ancient young man did not seem to be afraid. His expression became stern and ferocious. In the next moment, he waved his hand, and all kinds of lightning fell from the sky. It was actually the terrifying lightning. Rumbling sounds could be heard. Lin Xian fought with him, but he did not finish him off in an instant. This was because he was analyzing it with his Rinnegan. After a while, his frown deepened. That's right, it was very similar to Ruzalong's. However, its power seemed to be even more terrifying than Ruzalong's. Ruzalong's formation had an ancient name. It was called the Earth Scripture. It could mobilize all kinds of dragon veins and spirit veins under the earth. Its power was extremely terrifying. The Crimson Dragon could also fight people of a higher level. It was very powerful. However, what was going on with the ancient young man in front of him? Could it be that he could also use the Earth Scripture? No, it seemed to be even more magical than the Earth Scripture. If only Ruzalong was here, it would be great. Unfortunately, he did not come. Lin Xian looked forward and said in a deep voice, "What kind of cultivation technique are you practicing?" "Humph! I am the chief disciple of the Heavenly Master. I advise you to leave quickly, or you will die." The young man in the ancient Taoist robe said coldly. However, his voice was very mechanical, as if he was being controlled. "Heavenly Master?" Lin Xian frowned. Xia Juyo exclaimed, "Could it be that he is the legendary Heavenly Master?" Lin Xian asked, "What is a Heavenly Master?" Xia Juyo said, "It is a kind of formation. However, this formation is the most powerful one. It can mobilize all kinds of power of heaven and earth. The top Heavenly Master can even fight against a great emperor. It's so magical. I want to ask, how does it compare to the Earth Scripture?" There were two branches in the formation. One branch was the Earth Master. The other branch was the Heavenly Master. The highest secret skill that the Earth Master cultivated was called the Earth Scripture. The highest secret skill that the Heavenly Master cultivated was called the Heavenly Book. The person in front of him seemed to be a disciple of the Heavenly Master. He was very terrifying. Lin Xian was surprised. Only now did he understand why the other party's formation was so powerful. The ninth summit was actually related to the Heavenly Master. Xia Jiu said. Back then, the heavenly master appeared a few times, but he disappeared in the end. Unexpectedly, they were all in the 9 underworlds. The 9 underworlds had not been opened for 1,000,000 years. No wonder there was no trace of the heavenly master outside. Chapter 60:25. Humph! What celestial masters? They are not real celestial masters at all. I am the descendant of celestial masters. They are all bad people. The young man suddenly shouted excitedly. Lin Xian was surprised when he heard that. You are from the celestial masters? Everyone was surprised. Lin Xian also frowned. He felt that the ancient man in front of him seemed to be uncoordinated in his words and actions. It was as if he was being controlled. Forget it. He would suppress him first. Anyway, he had already promised this young man. Therefore, Lin Xian made a strong move. The 9 young divine palm pressed down on the ancient young man. The young man roared angrily. However, he couldn't resist it at all. He kept retreating. However, he used the heavenly book. Suddenly, the power of a celestial master erupted. The endless power of heaven and earth crushed Lin Xian's palm. To Lin Xian's surprise, he felt a great resistance. Lin Xian snorted coldly. It's useless. Although you have magical power, you are still no match for me. He pushed his palm out. The ancient young man's face turned pale, and he vomited blood. The gap between the two was too big. He couldn't use the power of a celestial master to make up for it. He turned into the sky. The injured ancient young man roared angrily. He used his heavenly book to the extreme. His body began to grow and become illusory. He seemed to have turned into a sky and came above Lin Xian's head. Submit, kneel, and worship the will of heaven. He roared again and again. That mysterious power surged into Lin Xian's body. Xia Jiu and the others exclaimed, "It's so terrifying. Is this the means of a celestial master?" It was incredible. They seemed to really represent the will of heaven and earth. A cold voice came from the sky. "It's useless. Even if you are a great emperor, so what? You still have to submit to me. I am the sky. I am the ruler." He pressed down on the ground. Lin Xian snorted coldly and released the 9 young divine body. 9 suns kept circling around. Your physique, what a familiar aura. Damn it, why can't I remember? A puzzled voice came from the sky. Then it turned into an illusory face. That face became somewhat malevolent and painful, as if he had forgotten some of his memories. What kind of physique was this? Why does it feel so familiar to me? Everyone was surprised. Did he lose his memory? Lin Xian also frowned. Wake up. He shot out a beam of light of reincarnation, which fused into his opponent's body. With a loud boom, the sky started to tremble violently. A miserable voice was heard. "Damn it, don't think about it anymore. I'm going to kill you." The terrifying power in the sky continued to fall. Lin Xian snorted coldly. With a wave of his hand, a beam of sword qi shot out and split the heavens and earth apart. This sword qi was also familiar. What was it? Why can't I remember? The doubtful voice was heard once again. In the next moment, he let out a terrified cry. 5 swords under the heavens. This is the power of the great dragon sword. It's the great dragon sword. That's right. Who are you? Who are you? Where was this? What era was it? Where am I? He hugged his head and screamed. He seemed to be very confused. Who are you? Who controlled you? What's their purpose? Why did you occupy the 9th mountain? Are you really a heavenly master? His voice carried the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation, which attacked the opponent's soul. However, he could not get any answers. Lin Xian snorted coldly and shot out a Tai Chi diagram, which enveloped the opponent and suppressed him under the ground. He asked a few more times, but he still did not get any answers. Lin Xian said, "Let's go up the mountain and take him with us." The group of people went up the mountain. However, climbing up the mountain was as difficult as climbing the sky. With every step they went up, the power became stronger. Everyone knew that this was the power of a heavenly master. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He and Xueqi walked in front. The 9 yin and 9 yang heavenly masters joined forces and formed a terrifying power that bombarded the entire mountain path. With every step they took, the power was torn apart. The power of the 9 yin and 9 yang heavenly masters shattered everything. The group of people kept moving forward. Finally, they arrived at the top of the mountain. There was an ancient and dilapidated palace at the top of the mountain. There were even withered ancient trees. There was an old man with his back facing the group of people. The group of people could not see the old man's face clearly. However, the old man's aura was extremely terrifying. When the young man looked at the old man, his eyes turned red. He was a little nervous, but he did not dare to go forward. When Lin Xian saw this, he asked, "Do you know him?" The young man nodded. "He's my grandfather. However, he's being controlled. I don't dare to go forward. Big brother, you're so powerful. Can you save my grandfather?" Lin Xian nodded. "Don't worry." He walked forward and shouted coldly, "The mastermind behind the scenes, come out." His rinnegan condensed in the sky and looked down at the people. At this moment, it was as if a god was looking down at the earth. The entire 9th peak shook violently. Ghosts wailed and wolves howled, and a chilly wind blew. All kinds of shrill cries could be heard. Fortunately, everyone was an elite, so they were still calm. The old man in front of them turned his head with a strange smile on his face. He laughed coldly. "Who are you? How dare you climb the 9th peak? How dare you suppress my eldest disciple? Go to hell." He waved his hand, and thunder appeared in the sky. A huge thunderbolt swooped down like a thunder dragon. This was the power of a great emperor. Xia Zhuyo and the others had all retreated. Only Lin Xian and Xueqi were still standing there. Xueqi snorted coldly. 9 yin divine palm. Her palm was covered with terrifying ice, and it directly froze the thunderbolt. Lin Xian stomped his foot and rushed over to the old man. He pressed his hand on the old man's head. However, the old man was very angry. He was also a great emperor. He waved his hand, and the transcendent power of heaven and earth collided with Lin Xian's palm. Then, both of them retreated. So powerful. Is this a great emperor, heavenly master? This is a real heavenly master. Lin Xian was surprised. This was the first time he had fought with such a person. Every move of the other party carried a transcendent power. This was not the same as the power of immortal qi and divine fire. It was indescribable, but one could only feel it when one fought in person. Lin Xian waved his hand and took out the immortal slaying sword and the Qianquan sword technique. The heaven-defying sword technique followed. All kinds of piercingly cold sword qi destroyed everything. The heavenly master was instantly crushed to death. His face was full of shock. What a familiar sword qi. This is the power of the great dragon sword. Is the great dragon sword here? There was a trace of confusion on his face, but it was followed by pain. He let out a miserable cry. His body was full of black gas, and black smoke was flying out of his 7 orifices. Then it formed a strange rune and imprinted itself on his forehead. Boundless heaven and earth, I am the supreme. 8 desolations and 6 directions, heed my command. Between heaven and earth, millions of thunderbolts condensed, and all kinds of heaven and earth phenomena surged. All of them attacked Lin Xian. Lin Xian engaged in a fierce battle with this transcendent power. He was shocked. If it were other great emperors, they would have been injured. However, he cut open the sky with his sword. and all the heaven and earth phenomena were sent flying. He said, "I want to see whether you are a human or a ghost." The heavenly master formed a seal with his palms and opened the sky with his palms. 9 netherworld beasts heed my command and appear. Suddenly, endless power of heaven and earth condensed from all directions to form a huge monster. They stood between heaven and earth. It was as if they were demonic beasts that had been resurrected from the ancient times. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.